for that, final wild card spot, you know that there's going to be at least 2 teams from the National League West making the playoffs, the division winner and somebody in the wild card. There could be 3 for all we know the way this thing plays out. I mean, it's going to be an interesting season.
I've seen a victory, a home series win over the Dodgers, home series win over the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
A series win over the Cubs at Chicago. So to me, those are 3 right there. I'm not happy with the Mets sweep, but you got plenty of time to clean up that Mets series. So to me, overall, not feeling too bad about what they've done.
No,
Let's see what happens.
And yesterday
that was
sucked.
bad yesterday. Yeah, in a lot of ways.
I give them a lot of credit for fighting back the way that they did. But ultimately, they lose in extra innings, 11-9. But they did win the series. So we'll talk more about this series itself coming up as the show goes on. But today's topic that I want to discuss with you guys and, of course, the people at 610-632-0975.
The peeps.
The peeps. What are your rules? Your individual rules.
And then I've got lots.
I know you do. And then we'll try to do maybe what everybody's rules should be. But what are your rules when it comes to praising or criticizing a player, a coach, a GM, anybody in sports? And the reason why I thought of this topic, Johnny, was I know how you're going to talk about Rob Thompson later on in this hour.
Sure.
And so you gave me that idea with the text message you sent me yesterday in terms of show topics. But B, on Saturday, you would have thought that I spit in the face of Trey Turner.
I think you would. I saw some of the responses you got, and it was unbelievable.
So Trey Turner, and if you guys listen to this show, I am more of a defender of Trey Turner than you are.
I think you are I almost think you are you are not Connor. On the scale of defenders.
Correct.
On the scale of defenders, Connor is a Trey Turner truther.
Yeah.
I am a Trey Turner detractor in many ways. You're I think you were very middling in the middle, and I think that B-Gun falls between you and me.
Yeah. Now, what I think about Trey Turner is almost what I think about Nick Castellanos from 2 years ago, where everybody in the world pointed out Nick Castellanos' year 1 struggles with the Phillies.
And hasn't moved. Some people haven't moved on from year 1.
And year 2 was much better, but people didn't really realize that because year 1 was so bad that was stuck in their mind. Last season, Trey Turner actually had a very good year in 2024. It was just the playoff performance, which you're paying him to be a big part of this team, not just in the regular season, but the playoffs, left such a bad taste in people's mouths that I think they forgot that he actually had a good 2024. And now this season in 2025, despite a couple of rough stretches, he has raised his batting average up despite a 1-for-6 yesterday to 297, right? So going into yesterday's game, he was hitting over 300. He had an at-bat on Saturday where you have runners on second and third and 1 out. All you need to do in that situation is just put the ball in play.
Well, that's almost impossible for him right now.
Well, not right now. He's on fire.
Well, no. It's impossible for him to not come through because he's come through with bat on ball. He's been hot. He's been hot for 10 days.
April 27th, 3 for 5. April 29th, 4 for 4. 0 for 3 on the 30th.
He has been hot for 10 days.
3 for 4, 1 for 3 with the walk, 2 for 5, and then yesterday's 1 for 6. So he struck out swinging, allegedly, because it was one of the worst attempts at swinging a baseball bat that I've seen in my life from a Major League Baseball player. Like
it was bad.
I'm not trying to go over the top for radio stuff. If you go back and watch his at bat Saturday when he had 2 men on and only 1 out, so he just has to put the ball in play. He half swung. He did swing. Like, it wasn't a check swing. It was a swing. Again, allegedly. Because I think his brain shut off.
Yeah, yesterday was terrible.
Yeah.
In many ways. So many at-bats.
And so I pointed it out on social media. And just
Saturday
said,
it was terrible.
Just said that was one of the least competitive swings. Not at-bats. Swings that I've ever seen. And I got attacked by people.
But why are you... Like, the thing is I don't understand. Because here's what I don't get about that. Every single tweet, is time-stamped.
Yeah.
and date stamped. You're not talking about the last 2 weeks.
No, talking about that
You're
one
talking-
specific swing.
People who cannot discuss things in context. People who cannot discuss things in the moment. Who have to go back to, 2 weeks ago he's been doing that. Context. You're watching a game. You're live tweeting something. That cannot, to me, everything does not have to be defended with agenda.
Right.
There is you can say your favorite player can have a crappy at bat.
Yeah, and somebody said, well, he's been hitting 400 and I go, all right.
What does that have to do with that at bat?
If Steph Curry is 9 for 9 from 3 and then decides to close his eyes and shoot a basketball behind his head, he'd probably make it. But if he does, that's a bad shot, right? You would point out that was a bad shot. Why is that hard for people?
It's something we're going to discuss later. If you discussed James Harden Game 6, James Harden Game 7.
You could point out that one was good and one was bad.
You could point out that Game 6 was better than good.
Yeah.
And Game 7 was better than worse.
It was worse than bad.
It was terrible. You can say both, and both are real. In the era of 280 characters, for some reason, the people that people want to defend, they cannot just embrace the fact that having an honest opinion is allowed.
But here's the thing, John. We're the weird ones. You and I are the weird and boring ones for saying, hey, that guy made a good play. Let me applaud it and forget that he's been playing poorly. Or, wow, that guy had a really bad at-bat. Despite him being 9 for his last 9, that was a bad at-bat. And yet that is the weird thing in today's day and age of sports. You have to be so intense on one side, either defending or attacking. Or you could probably be the logical person like me and John and say, hey, this guy's playing well, this guy's not playing well, and just point it out and talk about it and be a big boy or a big girl about it.
I don't understand. Well, it's part of the angry nature I believe, in the society we live in.
Yeah, now it's making me angry.
That people just have to be angry about somebody disagreeing with. It's that, just be honest. What's hard about it? And by the way, as we started the show today, great job. You won a series against the Diamondbacks.
Absolutely.
Great job, Trey Turner, on so many things. Bad job that, like yesterday, he was freaking atrocious.
Yeah.
He couldn't hit with the boat paddle. And by the way, the star that we talked about on Friday, he had a home run yesterday.
He did.
Bryce Harper.
Good job.
But still,
came up small
he had
late.
some terrible at-bats, too. It's all honesty.
So our discussion point today at 610-632-0975. We'll get through these as the show goes on. What are your rules, your specific rules, when it comes to praising or criticizing a player, coach, or GM? And should there be universal rules? We'll discuss that as the show goes on. Also, more reaction to the Phillies D-back series. Speaking of praising or criticizing, Johnny not too happy with the Sunday lineup. We talk about it next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
Plays it one time in. Oh, what a goal by Glesnes!
6:14 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, before we talk about the Sunday lineup specifically and the Phillies series win over the D-backs, Johnny, what is a rule that you can think of for yourself, at least something that you base your praise or criticism of a player, coach, or GM? When I ask you that question, what first comes to mind?
Be consistent and allow listeners or coworkers, like, co-host, whatever, to hold me consistent. So if I say something, or if I hold someone to a standard, if I hold Bryce Harper to a standard,
Yeah.
then I better sure as hell hold the standard to everybody. And if I have an opinion on Rob Thompson, I better have that opinion on John Tortorella or Nick Sirianni.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I'm going to criticize Nick Sirianni on something, I better find something when he does something well to make sure that I praise him.
Now, when you said Bryce Harper in a standard, but you're not saying like Bryce Harper and Johan Rojas.
No. But no, whoa. I will say this. Like yesterday, it was freaking stupid of JT Realmuto to be going to third base.
And yes.
That was freaking stupid.
Yes.
But I hear people going, block in the bag. They should have. It was stupid for him to be going to third base.
Just like it was stupid for Johan Rojas.
Just like it was stupid for Rojas. Stop deflecting. It's not about that. And what do I hear Rob Thompson doing? Instead of leading with, which he did with Rojas, instead of leading with it was stupid for him to be going to third, it was, block in the bag. No. Tell the truth, Rob.
Yeah.
It was stupid for him in that situation to get thrown out of third. That's the lead story. You can then argue whether you think it was smart that he did that. I to me, want consistency. And to me, that was stupid of JT Realmuto at that point. Oh, and by the way, I truly believe, and from talking to some people that cover the Phillies and around the Phillies, one around the Phillies and one that covers the Phillies, I believe Johan Rojas was benched the other night.
Yeah, I think
because
there's
of
a
that.
lot of...
So I expect that JT Realmuto will be benched tonight, right?
Oh, well, they're off tonight, so...
Oh, no, on Tuesday.
That's his learning.
No, but I expect he'll be benched on Tuesday, right?
No, he won't be.
Well, why not?
He won't be.
There won't be consistency, you mean?
Now, here could be...
So standards won't be
But
upheld?
do you have to have the same consistency with a veteran and a young guy?
That's the point that I was just about
yes,
to
you
make.
do. If you're gonna, because here's what happens. Because of the recklessness of a guy like Bryce Harper, the young players learn from the veterans.
I want to be like that guy.
So they want to be like the veteran. So when Bryce Harper runs the bases like a stupid drunken sailor, then the youngsters think that's the way to do it. So if you see Bryce Harper run the bases stupidly, and you see JT Realmuto run the bases stupidly, then the young players think that's what we do too. That's why you've got to have some level of consistency.
But I understand the point that Gunner's making. Like, if you're Rob Thompson, Johan Rojas last year, right, literally got sent down because of just stupidity.
No, he did.
And if he does something stupid again, maybe you have to have the conversation. Whereas Realmuto is not somebody that is consistently making bad base running decisions.
Isn't. He's also not been nearly the hitter that Johan Rojas has been. So I'm going to give you that.
Okay, yeah, but that has nothing to do with the base running.
No, but I'm going to tell you that Johan Rojas has had a much better approach to the plate this year. And Johan Rojas has been a much better hitter.
Sure. I think things have to be fair. They don't have to be equal.
You don't think that's
not
fair?
Everything. No. I think that's fair a little bit. If JT doesn't sit, that's fine with me. He's been in it for a long time.
You're not expecting him to make that mistake again. Whereas Rojas does make mistakes.
Johan does.
Forget the batting average and all that stuff.
But so does Harper over and over again.
And then that's where standards are different.
See, that's where I'm just saying.
I hear you. All right, so coming up next, we'll continue this discussion about your rules when it comes to praising or criticizing a player. The Sunday lineup that John was not happy about. We'll discuss that next. Also, how much is our praise or critique of a player or coach because of reputation? How much of it is brought upon themselves? We'll discuss that as well. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Monday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies fail to sweep. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. After winning the first 2 games of their weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies dropped yesterday's game by a score of 11-9. Ranger Suarez got his first start of the season, and it's probably one he would like to forget. He went 3 2/3 innings. He allowed 7 earned runs. After going down 7-1 early, the Phillies battled back to force extra innings, but ultimately fell in the 10th. The team has an off day today before heading down to Tampa to take on the Rays tomorrow. Last week, the big news surrounding the Eagles was the team picking up the 5th-year option of Jordan Davis, while Rob Maaddi of the Associated Press said the young defensive tackle still has room to grow.
He's a guy who I still think that he can develop into that guy they expected when they drafted him as high as they did in the first round.
And the Flyers have a big night ahead of them as the NHL draft lottery is tonight at 7. They have the 4th best odds to obtain the first overall pick with 9.5% chance of doing so. And the worst case, they have an 80% chance of landing somewhere between 4th and 6th in the draft. We'll see what happens tonight around 7 p.m. This update was brought to you by the Delaware County Job Fair. Hundreds of job titles, one big opportunity. Join the Delaware County Job Fair May 13th at Subaru Park. Sign up at on the Crozier page at pacareerlinkdelco.org. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Sports.
Standardizing, a player, coach, GM, anybody in sports. We'd love to hear from you at 610-632-0975. And hopefully, come the end of the show, we can come up with universal rules because it seems to be hard for some people to criticize when it's worthy of criticism, and it's hard for people to praise when it's worthy of praise. And again, I go back to Saturday when Trey Turner strikes out, and it was one of the least competitive swings that I have seen a professional athlete attempt in my life. And yet, when I point that out, I'm the bad guy because Trey Turner's hitting around 300. I'm not saying that he stinks.
Which is, by the way, that's all you said.
That swing.
You said that swing, that at bat.
What about Harper? I was like, I'm not talking about Harper.
Exactly.
I'm talking about that swing.
Like, I don't understand. Like, what? I don't get it because I do understand that people want to defend. If there's a player they want to defend, the defense of Trey Turner in this town, I honestly do not get it.
Or the over-the-top criticism, because there is over-the-top criticism for him, too. He is hitting around 300,
okay,
right?
there is a over-the-top. There has been over-the-top criticism. And by the way, at times, he has not lived up to his contract. That is not over the top. He has not lived up to what they expected to be getting from him. But overall, he has not been terrible. He is horrendous in the field.
Yes, that is true.
He is a horrendous shortstop. He is the worst. Again, we wake up today, since he has been a Philly, since the 2 years, since the beginning of 2023, he is the worst shortstop in the National League.
And again, just so people hear
that is not
correctly, you're talking about defensively statistics.
Defensively, he is the worst shortstop in the National League since the beginning of the 2023 season. That's all I'm saying. So you're talking about he's a problem there. That's all I'm saying. That is
and yet there are some people that can't handle.
They don't want to hear
facts.
it. I don't understand why the grand defensive.
No one's trying to run him out of town.
No.
Right?
No. And the big deal is this. What did we say? Also, he's been kicking ass for 10 days.
Hell yeah, he has been.
And knowing Trey Turner, he can put together 6 to 8 weeks where we're like, he's got this thing figured out. Mm-hmm. And then he can put together what he did in the last 2 weeks of September and October of last year, where he disappears. Like, we don't know what we're getting at any time.
Now, one guy you are highly critical of.
Yes.
But you're not alone. No. Is the manager, Rob Thompson. I have a little bit of a softer heart for Topper.
You do. But again, in the same vein, you always give him credit. Say what he does well.
Yep.
Because I always go out of my way to say to people around the Phillies, tell me what he does well. When I go down to a batting practice, when I go to a game, I'll talk to people in the know. And I hear all the things he does well, and I share them. And I share those things. That he is a master at building a clubhouse. And I tell you, I hear fans tell me all the time about the Phillies clubhouse
and
the
know,
vibes.
Right?
Like they know.
All right.
Look, I'm not an expert in the Phillies clubhouse, but I'm in the Phillies clubhouse 10, 12 times a year. And I can tell you, he has a nice clubhouse. I've been in some crappy clubhouses.
Yeah.
He builds a nice clubhouse. It seems like they enjoy coming to work.
Well, what were you upset with yesterday?
Well, I'm always upset with his Sunday lineups a lot of times.
I know you are.
I don't think he has a killer instinct. And I think the Phillies play like it. I think his teams reflect his, oh, shucks. Yeah, okay.
Well, they won the series.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. He's had 5 series this year in 5 weeks where the Phillies have won the first 2 games of a 3-game series. By the way, that's an impressive feat.
Hell yeah, man.
Do you know how many teams in baseball have done that? Because Dork Boy went to it yesterday at Stats and Information. Only 6 teams in baseball
How about that?
have done this, where they've played 3 in the first 5 weeks of the year, have had 5 series where they've won the first 2 games of a 3-game series. And the Phillies have had a chance at a sweep. They swept one of them. And what does he do in the last game of the series? Many, many times, he puts out the give-up lineup. Instead of going for the jugular, he goes for Well, give this guy a day off and this guy a day off. Max Kepler, got to give him a day off. Got to give him a day off. He's the hottest outfielder in baseball of the week. He was on MLB Network. They list you the hottest players because they do for you. They don't do it for betting. They do it for fantasy.
Yeah,
But
okay.
you can use it for betting. They tell you who the hottest players in baseball are every single day on a banner, on the ribbon on the TV.
Yeah.
Max Kepler was listed as the hottest player in baseball yesterday on their banner. Oh, no. Rob Thompson doesn't have MLB Network in the club. Huh? No, he's got to have the day off. But then someone says, well, wait a minute. Maybe you don't like the righty-lefty thing.
Yeah, it's Eduardo Rodriguez, left-handed pitcher.
But then you look and you say, wait a minute. Look at Kepler's numbers against Rodriguez. He hits him like he's a redheaded stepchild. Are you kidding me? He has great numbers against him. A simple Google search. We have all the analytics in the world to tell us about launch angles and blip and all the stuff that they put up on the outfield on the outfield scoreboard. But you can't do a simple Google search and go, wait a minute now. Kepler is actually the hottest player of the week. MLB Network says, telling people who to play in fantasy. He's the hottest outfielder in baseball right now. Batting. Oh, wait a minute. And he also has he has great numbers against this pitcher.
6 for 17 in his career against Eduardo Rodriguez, including a double and 2 home runs.
Let's give him a day off, though. Got to give him the day off. Oh, and let's do something else. This is the worst field conditions that the Phillies will start a game against.
Yeah, because of the rain.
It is literally a slippery slop fest. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to make sure today is the day we got to give Harper a day off from being in the field.
With the day off today, by the way.
See, with the day off today. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to make sure that we take our second most valuable bat, Kyle Schwarber, and stick him out in left field where he fields out there like he's doing an act out of the Ringling Brothers Circus. Does that still exist, or did they stop
I think
that?
they're still around.
Okay.
Yeah.
He looks like when the ball is hit to left field, it looks like he's slipping, he's sliding, and you're going to put him out there on the worst field that you have played on all year long. And you've got all morning to look at the weather forecast to know the game wasn't even necessarily going to start on time. And you say, I'm going to put Schwarber out there. By the way, this is a man who in similar weather conditions broke his leg playing left field once. He broke his leg in left field once.
Lightning can't strike twice in the same spot, I guess.
No, lightning can't strike twice because he honestly, you could time him with a sundial. I mean, and then you watch him. He made a great play on a ball off the wall, by the way.
He did.
He made a great play. But then he made 3 other plays during the day where you're like, you can't have him in the outfield. He threw one ball that really cost them.
Weather conditions aside, though, he has to play there a couple of times.
But here's the
why
deal. Here's
why
the deal.
yesterday?
When
Why
you
yesterday?
have today off.
There's no reason that Harper needs to take yesterday off. There's no reason
and I know
for
that
it.
there's the mindset of, all right, let's give a guy a complete day off today because he'll have 2 days off, right? We see that with Real Muto a lot. We'll give him the Sunday off. He was off what? Which game did he not play in the series? Game 1 or game 2? Whatever. You'll see sometimes.
He took the last day off of the last series.
Okay. So you'll see sometimes Real Muto not play the day before day off so that he gets 2 days off. You still played everyone yesterday.
I don't get it. This is where I tell you, I don't believe the manager is a strategist. Those are things that he had all night to think about, all morning to think about. He's not a strategist. There's no reason why Harper needed yesterday off and then with the day off today. There's no reason why you put Schwarber out on a slippery field in left field. And by the way, he cost you yesterday in left field. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
We want to hear from you, 610-632-0975. What are your rules when it comes to praising or criticizing a player? We'll talk about that. And also, is reputation a big part of it? When you do something over and over and over again, does that sort of add to your praise or, in this case, your critique of somebody? It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Monday morning here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
We want to hear from you.
So text us. on here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. What are your rules when it comes to praising or criticizing a player, a coach, GM, anyone in sports? We'll check our text line here in a second at 610-632-0975. Now, Johnny, does reputation have anything in terms of your rules, right? Like if somebody continues to do the same thing over and over
Well,
again.
sure. Absolutely. I think one of the things that, and an interesting is, I get 2 emails during the break.
Okay.
And one of them says, John, don't be unfair because a guy like JT Realmuto isn't a constant screw-up. So you can't hold him to the same standard that you hold Johan Rojas.
You can point it out, but maybe you're not calling for him to be benched.
And I think that can be, honestly, that is a fair take.
Yeah.
That's a fair take. But the very next person says, the very next email goes, yeah, Johan Rojas, though, is getting drilled against the wall every time he makes one of these mistakes. Johan Rojas was also the guy that got sat for 3.5 weeks for Brandon Marsh as he went 0 for 35.
Right.
So when Johan Rojas is in the games, he's trying to make an extra impression to show what he can do, pressing too hard.
Could be.
And he says that's
But
on
sometimes
he said that's on the manager. And he said, can someone explain to us why Rojas was parked on the bench for a month?
Yeah, but here's the deal. I get what the email's saying, the pressing thing, right? Because I think back to like Scott Kingery. He would be in the lineup and go 4 for 4, and then the next day he'd be out of the lineup. So he'd be like, what do I have to do to stay in the lineup? A double's a double, right? Like if Rojas stopped at second, we're still applauding him for hitting a double.
I get you. The one thing I'm just going to say is this, though, is that can someone explain to me, in retrospect now, why the hell this team and this manager left Johan Rojas on a bench for 3.5 weeks?
Nobody can.
While we let a guy go 0 for 31?
Nobody can except for your one theory.
Who wasn't as good in the outfield?
Your one theory of trying to prove that the trade was worth it. He's above the Marsh line now, by the way.
He is above the Marsh line.
130.
Way below the Mendoza.
I guess you could argue that March's came up big in big spots, and they don't think Rojas is capable of doing that, even though he's more consistent.
Wrong.
So, they're wrong at this point, but maybe they were trying to capture that magic, hitting a home run against the Braves in the NLDS, stuff like that. Can he do that throughout a season?
Yeah, because Charlie Morton hung a curveball after getting 2 fastballs. Honestly,
it still bothers you.
It bothers my baseball intellect. Obviously, pro Phillies, right? Because Brandon Marsh hits a home run. It bothers my baseball intellect when you blow a fastball by a guy up and in twice, and then you throw a hanging curveball. Why would you do that
against a guy that cannot hit upper heat at all?
He's got a Don Brown swing, and you float one over the plate.
You let a guy continually go 0 for 10, 0 for 15, 0 for 18, 0 for 23, 0 for 27, and you continually park a guy on the bench who, when he gets his shot, tears it up. And he did everything they asked him to do in the offseason, tore it up in the winter leagues, and went out there and has now had a better approach at the plate and is hitting like 300.
Yeah.
And the manager just continued it. Well, we're just going to do this. This is what we're going to do. This is what it is.
Oh, he might be told to do that too. Who knows?
And that could be. And you know what? And that's where you're being fair. I have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Very much so. I can't tell if Geppetto is really pulling the strings behind Rob. I can't tell.
By the way, Ringling Brothers coming to Baltimore in 2025.
It is. I thought they had closed.
They're still going, man.
I didn't know if they had closed down the circuses because, like everything else that's fun in the world.
Oh, they actually had a 6-year hiatus.
They did. I'm
guessing COVID had something to do with it, but they're back, man.
Don't need a circus when the world's a circus.
Hell yeah, man. That is absolutely true. All right, what do we got on the text line there, Gunner?
Yeah, we got Marcus in New Hampshire checking in. He says, I feel the rules are simple. If they give me something to criticize, I will do so. Don't give me anything to criticize, and I won't. I wanted Nick gone after last season and with the 2-2 start, but then he had the run. He won the Super Bowl. Now I have no problem hearing a little bit of grace even going forward.
Now, I get that it can be exhausting to flip-flop, right? Like, oh, I was critical of this guy 1 year, but then I'm praising him the next year. To me, as long as you're open to admitting that you were critical. Like, yeah, Nick Sirianni was the head coach of the Super Bowl champion Eagles, and Andrew Salciunas, wanted him gone after 2023.
I did not. I'm glad that I was on the right side of history. I've been on the wrong side of history enough.
But here's the deal.
I'm glad on that one I refused. I didn't fall on that one.
As long as you admit it,
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
you did. You
admit
own it.
That's it. Like, admit it. And I can still explain why. It wasn't just out of hatred. It wasn't just out of like, I don't like him. There's something about him that I just don't like.
Correct.
But that also does not mean that in 2025-26, if Sirianni has another outburst on the sideline, I don't want to hear an Eagles fan say, oh, it's okay. He had an outburst last year and they won a Super Bowl.
Well,
I don't want to hear that.
And again, is that, like I said to you, is that I've ripped on Nick for the outbursts and things like that. I never wanted him fired. And like with Rob Thompson, I've never wanted Rob Thompson fired. But I've said, if this team doesn't achieve this year, if this team misses the playoffs, bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Bye-bye.
Right.
If this team flames out in the first round, bye-bye. I don't want it. This team has spent too much money, and he's been given too much talent that I would then say, at that point,
we might
I would
need
say,
another person.
I would
another
say
voice.
bye-bye.
All right, what else
At
we
that
got,
point.
Gunner, on the text line?
Yeah, no name on this one. Oh, Old Texas says Joe from Bayville, New Jersey. He says, I agree. This weekend, the lineup stunk. The bullpen was terrible.
Wow.
They should have swept the D-backs.
Wow.
That's overly negative.
I didn't feel that way
Yeah.
at all about that series. And the way they fought back yesterday, that is, look, I'll be honest. It's 7-2 when they were down 7-2.
7-2,
right?
yeah.
I switched over to
You found something else to do.
I know I had watched one episode of You. I had watched episode 4 of You, and then said, you know what? I texted Christina upstairs and I said, I'm watching another episode of You. And by the way, episode 5 blew me away.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
I was like, okay, I'm going to watch episode 5. And by the end of episode 5, not only had Joe gone off the rails, then the Phillies were right back in it, and I caught up, and it was great.
And oh, by the way, to say the bullpen sucked. Look, has the bullpen sucked this season? Yes. But today's not the day to say it.
It's not
when
today.
7 earned runs to Ranger Suarez, and then it's 0 for Ryan Kerkering, gets 4 outs. 0 for Romano, gets 3 outs. 0 for Strahm, gets 3 outs. 0 for Ross, gets 3 outs.
By the
It was
way,
Alvarado who had the blow up, and here's the deal. You still feel comfortable in Alvarado.
Alvarado, and to me, and Dylan McTrollan yesterday was he made a good point. I'm not if someone's ripping on Alvarado yesterday, I'm just like, would you shush?
Yeah.
Alvarado's been fantastic, and to me, spend your tweet on Ross. Like Ross has been like, maybe that's something, or I don't know. I've been. There were so many things this weekend that I left more positive about.
Yeah,
with
that
the
was an
Phillies
overly negative
than
text.
That were negative.
But people have their rules.
They do.
Even though maybe we should have universal rules when it comes to
Why? My
criticizing or praising a player.
You don't need my rules.
No.
They're
But
too many.
We'll hear about them.
You wouldn't be able to follow them.
We'll continue this discussion next at 610-632-0975. Speaking of the bullpen, Rob Thompson, Johnny, finally seems to be noticing something that us little sports talk radio guys who aren't supposed to know what we're talking about.
Did someone nudge him?
Now, we've been pointing this out for a while. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Ranger struggles in his debut. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. After winning the first 2 games of their weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies dropped yesterday's game by a score of 11-9. Ranger Suarez got the first start of the season for himself after starting the season on the IL, and it's one he'd like to forget. He went 3 2/3 innings. He allowed 7 earned runs in those 3 2/3 innings. After going down 7-1 early, the Phillies battled back and forced extra innings before ultimately falling in the 10th. The team has an off day today before heading down to Florida to take on the Tampa Bay Rays tomorrow. Last week, the big news surrounding the Eagles was the team picking up the 5th-year option on Jordan Davis, while Rob Maaddi of the Associated Press said the young defensive tackle still has a lot of room to grow.
He's a guy who I still think that he can develop into that guy they expected when they drafted him as high as they did in the first round.
And the Flyers have a big night ahead of them as the NHL Draft Lottery is tonight at 7. They have the 4th best odds to obtain the number 1 pick. That's a 9.5% chance. And at worst case, they have an 80% chance to pick up anywhere between the 4th and 6th pick. This update was brought to you by True Green. Summer is better with True Green. Get a lawn you'll love for less than you think. Don't wait. Sign up for TrueGreen.com now and get 75% off your first treatment. Restrictions apply. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It feels like a good energized.
I could tell you when my alarm went off at 4:00, it felt like a Monday.
John's all hyped up off the jelly beans at 6:55 on a Monday, and that's
I have
why.
not had, no, whoa. Don't say that in case Thad's listening. I have not had any jelly beans yet, but we will later today.
8:25. We will do our very scientific, mathematical equation to tell you what the Flyers will end up with.
This
the pick
is Flyer
tonight.
draft lottery thing, and
It's very scientific.
by the way, why did I not have the jelly beans? I want to thank the Flyers. It's
a nice shirt.
The Flyers, Travis Matthew too, real nice name. The Flyers gave me a bunch of stuff when I was sick.
Yeah.
And Jonesy and Danny Briere and them gave me like when we were doing a show down on the ice when I was a cancer patient. They got me the nice big winter jacket because I was dying of the cold, like really bad.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was in like the gift package was this Travis Matthew golf shirt, which was large. And let's just say during cancer treatments and putting on the bloat, Chunky Johnny could not fit in a large golf shirt. And I'm glad this morning I'm wearing the
Damn
large
right,
golf
man.
shirt, and it's fit nicely.
It looks good.
I haven't been able to wear this thing. That's why it looks so nice. I haven't been able to wear it in the 2 years since I got it.
Hand raised. No idea who the hell Travis Matthew is.
Oh,
but
okay,
that's-
go. Okay, guess what? This is where.
sounds bougie.
You know what I'm wearing today?
Guess what?
I'm
It
wearing
is.
Old Navy.
Now here it is. It is.
Off the rack.
It's a nice golf wear. If you wanted to buy a nice golf shirt right now, one of the top designers of golf
Yeah.
shirts. Now the thing is, Cheap John only gets one if it's a gift.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The shorts I'm wearing were a 6-pack for $10 off Amazon. All right, that's how I roll.
I'll tell you this though. I'm gonna say, you're very self-deprecating. If you played more, you'd be.
What about golf?
No,
Yeah.
your game's not bad.
No, I know.
You're self-deprecating, and you're one of those people. You lull people in because you were very close to winning the match on.
Well,
Friday.
that's embarrassing to you guys.
I know. Screw you.
You can text into the show at 610-632-0975. When it comes to praising or critiquing a player, coach, or anybody in sports, what are your rules on it? Gunnar, do you have any? And again, if you're just tuning in on Saturday, the topic comes because I put out a simple tweet, at least I thought. When Trey Turner, who is having a good stretch of his season right now, hitting right below 300, 297 right now, he had one of the worst swings I've ever seen a professional baseball player attempt. That it was not a pitcher, right? A position player, a starter, and a $300 million contract. I saw one of the worst swings of my life. And I put that out. I didn't say, man, Trey Turner sucks right now. Just said that was one of the worst swings I ever saw. And the defense of Turner just came in
my
waves,
gosh.
and it was amazing. I'm happy that he's got supporters.
Yes, we're happy.
But that doesn't mean we have to ignore when he has a horrible swing. And then, of course, when I win the argument because I won it, all people could say was, all right, man, whatever floats your boat. Like, what? That's because you lose. You lost the argument.
You lose, sir.
And that's it. And you have nothing left to say, so just end it. What are some of the
take
rules?
the L.
What are
Take
some
the
of the
L.
rules that you have when it comes to critiquing or praising?
I think it's like the cliche Philadelphia Delco kind of guy, lunch pail guy.
You're
Just
the
go out
best.
there and try. You know what I mean? Like, show effort. That I'll praise you all day long, even if you stink, if you go out there and show effort. Now, when I start to criticize you, it's when I'll call one guy out. It's like when you're in Alec Bohm. When you see you keep struggling, but you see it emotionally on you. You wear that struggle, and you don't even try to seem like you're trying to get better at it. You just go to the dugout, smash your bat, smash your helmet. It wears off on the other guys. Leave your struggles to yourself. Keep your head up. Keep your head in the game, and don't let it affect your teammates. That's when I'll crush you.
Do you feel like you're still seeing that with Bohm? Because I feel
Not right now. I feel like he's getting a little bit better.
Like,
He's
to
gotten
me,
better.
I've been really quiet on Bohm.
But do I believe it's going to continue? No.
Okay, now that is okay, but I'm going to take the same tact with Bohm right now that I'm taking with Nick Sirianni. I'm going to take that maybe he's learned his lesson and maybe he's maturing. I still need to see him have more productive at-bats, and I need to see him.
Well, here's the deal. He has been playing better, and maybe that's why you're not seeing the outbursts, right?
I got you.
I remember
got you.
saying before the season started when Rob Thompson did the whole, he's got a great attitude, like during spring training.
I remember.
I remember saying to you and Connor, all right, well, when he goes through that first rough patch, whenever it may be, I didn't expect it to be April, where he went 0 for a billion. I wanted to see what his reaction, his body language, how he would be. And it got to the point where he was benched again. Now that he's hitting the ball well, he is in a much better mood. He's one of those players where his mentality will be based off of the way he's playing. And right now he's playing well.
It just angers me even more, though. I'm not saying this. Don't quote me on this. I'm not saying Alec Bohm is a me guy, but it comes off that way when you go out there and you're fine and dandy when you're playing well. But when the team's playing well and you're struggling,
like last year,
smashing your helmet, dude, grow up.
Last year when they were up 10-0 in a game, and he was the only one without a hit.
That was the KC game.
That was the one where Bryce Harper had to put his arm around him and basically try to walk him through it.
And we crushed him for it. But I'm of the opinion that we've talked about it, we've ripped him for it. Now let's give him some grace, and hopefully he shows us that he's better.
Hopefully,
and yes,
and he has been right now.
It's just hard when you juxtapose it next to the biggest guy in the city right now. Different sport. Football, Jalen Hurts doesn't get his numbers by design. They were a running team this past year. He could have gotten his numbers when he wanted to, like the Steelers game, but he kept his head up the whole damn time, all year. Kept winning.
Jalen's
he's a different breed. But.
And you know what? Jalen he's a totally different animal.
We should love him here, even over the moon. Over the moon, love him, because there are still going to be detractors of Jalen Hurts. The fact that he just lives and breathes football is what this shitty city. Should care about. You can text in at 610-632-0975. I said city. It was just with a lisp. That's all.
We built this. That's
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Just a lisp, Johnny. That's
the Delco Deucer over there.
He's got a lisp.
Just a lisp. That's all.
By the way, that made, I don't know if you saw, that made everything.
Oh yeah, it was all over the place.
Made Tonight Show. It made Daily Show, which is unfunny.
By the way,
it made everything.
Speaking of Alec Bohm, should we make a bet as a show? When will the first home run be hit? It's now. Look, your corner infielder can't have 0 home runs into the month of May. That's bad. And I know that the last couple of years he was driving in runs, and I remember we were talking about this off air, right when the show first started. If you're driving in 100 runs, I don't really care how you're doing it. You're driving in 100 runs. That's great. But when it gets to a point where guys aren't getting on base or you're not hitting the ball well, and guys aren't afraid to make a mistake with you because, there's nobody on base. I can make a mistake pitch and it's just going to be slapped for a single. Him having 0 home runs in May, through the month of April into May, can't happen. You can't have a corner infielder with 0 home runs.
No, it's atrocious.
We should start thinking about, because today's Cinco de Mayo, at what point does Alec Bohm finally hit a home run? Swinging the bat a little bit better.
No, I think it's common. How about this?
By May 15th, does he have a home run?
Does he? Well, that's close.
Yeah, he's a corner infielder. He's 6'6".
The way you look at him swing right now, it doesn't look like he has it in him.
2 weeks from today, does he have a home run?
No.
Yeah, I'm saying no.
I say yes.
You say yes?
I say yes.
Okay.
I say by 2 weeks from today, May 19th.
May 19th.
Which, by the way, will be 51 years since the Flyers' first Stanley Cup.
How about that? 0 home runs into May. It's unbelievable. All right, so yesterday,
it's gonna be May.
After the game, Rob Thompson finally realized something that we have been pointing out on this show.
That the game was going on? Did Rob finally realize that?
He was asked about the usage of Jose Alvarado and whether or not he's concerned. And he said yes, and then he also said that he's concerned about the usage of all the guys so far. But this was something that I have been pointing out on this show. I've had Connor try to fight back on it, but this is a problem where already on May the 5th, your 3 best guys, Alvarado, Strahm, and Kerkering, have pitched in 16 outings, Alvarado and Strahm, 15 for Kerkering. And as we've seen with Alvarado, there are games where he will pitch the inning in 10 pitches, but then he'll pitch the next inning in 35. Because
that is the truth.
And he gets out of it, but he does get wild. Pitch counts go up. and he'll throw 30-plus pitches.
He was throwing a lot yesterday, shin down for JT. JT was having a hard day handling him yesterday.
Now, I can't totally blame Rob Thompson for this because Dave Dombrowski gave him limited arms to use that you could trust.
We're the quality righties.
Right, exactly.
I mean, he's asking him to do a lot. I mean, he's asking Rob Thompson to make chicken salad out of chicken.
You know what? I already said the word.
You said it once, yes.
So I'm glad that he's finally realizing, and I hope upstairs finally realizes this.
You think so?
That on May the 5th, you have Alvarado at 16 outings, Strom at 16, Kerkering at 15, Tanner Banks all of a sudden at 14, Romano's at 14 despite his 10-plus ERA. Joe Ross, who's supposed to be a long man, is already at 13 outings. They got to be careful, man. I read an article.
They got to just push it long enough. They got to hope that they can tread water with this bullpen till they can go shopping.
I read an article on NBC Sports Philadelphia this morning. I think it was from Corey Seidman, where Jose Alvarado is on pace to appear in 76 games this year.
That's stupid.
You don't want your relievers to reach 70. He's on pace for 76.
No, you don't want him. I don't think I want Jose Alvarado to hit 65.
Right. They got to be careful about this.
They're going to end up having to give him one of those little mini shutdowns.
Yeah, you're going to take a 10-day IL stint for nothing.
And you got to have enough of a lead to the playoff.
Yeah, which we're a week away from an important date that we'll get into later on in the show today.
Boy.
You can text in at 610-632-0975. Now, speaking of praise and criticism, coming up next, Johnny, I have another topic that I want to open up for the people. We are in a stretch right now where a lot of us have been right, and the decision makers have not. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
And the halo effect with Howie Rose.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. At some point today, what a great way to start your week. We're going to be giving away a $50 gift card at Primo Hoagies, Johnny. Thanks to Primo Hoagies, they'll be dropping off their new catering boxes for our staff on National Hoagie Day. So not only is it Cinco de Mayo, it's also National Hoagie Day. Make sure you to celebrate with the $7 Primo size Italian, turkey and cheese, or ham and cheese available all day, in-store or online. It's not just a hoagie, it's a Primo. So at some point today,
that's called counter-programming.
We will be giving away a $50 Primo hoagie. Also, at some point today, we will be giving away a pair of general admission tickets to Maury's Piers.
Oh, really?
Love this for the Eagles Autism event. So we'll give away those at some point. The Eagles Autism event is on July 13th at Maury's Piers. So obviously all the rides and the water park, which is always great. So we'll be giving away a pair of those later on the show as well.
Liv and her friends have done that. I have gotten that event for them twice, 2 of the last 3 years. They have loved that.
That's awesome.
They have absolutely loved that.
We'll be giving away a pair of that later on.
They said that, what's funny is when you can tell the kids are getting a little older, though, when they're, man, those kids get annoying at the water slides and stuff.
Yeah, that's when they
start. And I'm like, man, you're sounding old.
You were that annoying kid
you were that
5 years ago.
Yeah, but Dad, the parents just don't pay attention to the kids. And I'm saying, yo, Karen, why don't you calm down over there?
So, Johnny, our topic of praise and criticism and what your rules are for it, I have a rule for when it comes to decision makers.
Okay.
I should not be on a heater in terms of being right about things. You should not be on a heater in terms of being right about things.
Unless you agree with the decision maker.
Unless you agree with the decision maker.
Okay.
So if we agree with everything that Howie does, then we too would be on a heater because he's been on a heater.
Okay.
I think about baseball right now. The biggest problem for the Phillies is their bullpen, correct?
Yep.
We all agree. That's their biggest problem. Despite the grousing we can do with lineups and 0 home runs for Alec Bohm and all that kind of stuff. The biggest problem with this team is the bullpen.
Right.
Estevez, Hoffman, Dominguez they traded last year, but if we're talking about the 2 free agents, Estevez and Hoffman, we wanted them to bring at least one back.
One of them back.
You didn't bring back any of them. They're having great seasons with their respective teams. The Phillies bullpen is not having a great season. We should not, time and time again, be able to make more correct decisions than the Hall of Fame president of baseball operations, Dave Dombrowski.
I did not want Trey Turner. I think that was a right decision. The flexibility you would have right now if you didn't have Trey Turner, I think it'd be the right decision. I think it clogged you up. I think it clogged you up with too many big contracts where the Phillies have too many guys. First base is a clog up right now. I think that they have a clogged up roster. And, I look at things and say, okay, the bullpen is one.
First base isn't totally clogged up as long as Harper is actually willing to go back to the outfield.
But I think that I love that, too, that he's willing. That's very kind of you, Bryce. It's very kind of you. He's willing to do.
Well,
isn't that nice? That's nice of you, Bryce.
He's willing to do it.
He's willing to do it.
Yeah, but look,
isn't that
he's
nice?
found a lot of comfort clearly at first base because he's playing spectacular fielding at first base.
He is, but it's very kind of him to. He was never a problem in right field. In fact, he was a above average right fielder.
Yeah, he was.
So he would be just fine there too.
Yeah, but remember
and
the arm, the back,
and the team
all that
was
kind
better
of stuff.
off when he was there.
He had a willingness, and he told him the guy he was willing to move out there for, and the guy was leading the league in RBI for the beginning part of the season. They didn't want to get him.
But he also pushed out the guy that was the first baseman.
Well, because he had to at that time.
Well, he pushed out Rhys Hoskins.
Coming off the arm injury.
They pushed out Rhys Hoskins, too, that could have been here, and the manager wanted Rhys Hoskins here.
Listen, you never know. He's on the final year of his deal.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe he comes back home. Basketball.
That'd be nice.
Basketball. Didn't want Paul George here.
We didn't want that. We were right on that one.
Now,
by the way, some of us even had sort of the question. We look, there were conversations where, you get to have those conversations with executives. Being like, I don't see it. Tell me about it. Like, type of thing.
Yeah. I was not one of the people that wanted this player. I did not think he was ready to take that leap forward, but there were a lot of people that wanted Tyrese Halliburton
Oh, I didn't mind that.
over James Harden.
No, I did. So I raised my hand on that one. I wanted that deal.
Yeah,
The Detroit deal. I wanted that deal.
I was totally with Harden. On board with Harden.
Not.
But I know
I wanted to potentially win something.
I got you, which we'll get to. I know a lot of people wanted Tyrese Halliburton, and look, they're up 1-0 in their second round matchup with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The confusion of not playing Buddy Hield in the second half of Game 6 last year against the Knicks.
You mean Buddy Hield,
the guy that went off for 33 points last night?
By the way, set an NBA record last night for a first half.
I know there was
in a seventh game.
I know it was more than just picking one player or the other. Jimmy Butler's still doing it, even though he wouldn't be here anymore, as we talked about last week with Amy. Like, he probably would have left by now.
No, he'd be a mental case.
But there seems to be a stretch right now with a couple of the teams in this city. Not the Eagles, because clearly Howie Roseman's batting 1,000. We seem to be in a stretch right now where the radio hosts and the fans are sometimes on par, if not better, than the decision makers of the professional teams that we love and support in this city.
I think that's
fair.
fair.
A problem.
Yeah,
I don't want to be more right.
No.
I might sound smart, but I don't want to be.
No, in fact, it's really funny the way you say it, because it is a problem.
Yes, it should, and that's when I say,
because I don't want that to be the case, because we're dopes. I mean, and I'm not saying we're dopes, but we're dopes. Like, I mean, I don't want to be right.
I don't have as much information as these guys do, and yet I'm seemingly more right recently than the decision makers, and that's one of my rules of praise or critique. I shouldn't be smarter than you.
That's a problem if we are.
All right. Coming up next. I gave you a couple of lists of names, right? Some you may have agreed with, some of you may not have. How much does that impact your confidence level in the decision makers? Because that shouldn't be the case. I'd love to hear from you guys at 610-632-0975 on this. I'll ask Johnny and Brendan to comment some more on it. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phillies failed to sweep. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. After winning the first two games of their weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies dropped yesterday's game by a score of 11-9. Ranger Suarez got his first start of the season after a stint on the IL to open the season, and it's probably one he would like to forget. He went 3 2/3 innings, and he allowed 7 earned runs yesterday. After going down 7-1 early, the Phillies battled back to 4 extra innings, but they ultimately lost in the 10th. The team is off today before heading down to Florida to take on the Tampa Bay Rays tomorrow. Last week, the big news surrounding the Birds was the team picking up the fifth-year option for Jordan Davis. Rob Mahdi of the Associated Press joined the station last week, and says the young defensive tackle still has room to grow.
He's a guy who I still think that he can develop into that guy they expected when they drafted him as high as they did in the first round.
And the Flyers have a big night ahead of them tonight. The NHL Draft Lottery is tonight at 7. They have the fourth best odds to attain the number 1 pick. They have 9.5% chance for that happening. And worst case, they have an 80% chance of falling anywhere between 4th and 6th overall in the draft. This update was brought to you by Dairy Queen. Get big summer flavor in every bite with the new DQ Summer Blizzard treat menu, featuring new mixing bowl mashups, s'mores, and more. Available now. DQ Happy Tastes So Good at participating locations. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Flyers, Sixers, and the Truist Championship. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Vitalico.
Howie is just...
check our text line here momentarily. Johnny, the last segment when we had this conversation, and I want people to chime in on this as well. Again, our main topic is what your rules are when it comes to giving praise or critiquing an athlete based off of the reaction I got to my tweet on Saturday following Trey Turner's abysmal strikeout. That's all I was talking about.
It was abysmal.
That swing.
Yeah, it was
bad. Professional
awful.
baseball players don't swing the bat that way, right?
That was bad.
I'm not saying he stinks. I'm not saying to bench him. I'm not
No,
saying
you
anything
didn't.
else. That swing. And yet people were floored that I pointed out a bad swing, but he's hitting around 300. What about your boy Harper? That's not the point of the tweet. The tweet was, man, that was one of the worst swings I've ever seen. Period. End of story.
And it was terrible.
Agree or disagree. If you want to disagree, then point out other bad swings. Don't start pointing out that he's hitting 300 because that's not the point of the conversation.
It wasn't what you were saying.
So last segment, we were talking about the decisions that have been made recently by some of the decision makers,
Yes.
whether they're GMs or, as Connor says, POBOs, president of baseball operations,
By the way,
president of
Connor's
basketball
the one
operations.
saying that.
I've never. Yeah,
I was wondering what the hell that was. I remember Connor saying that, but reading the show sheet, I'm like,
what's a POBO?
I've never missing something.
And he said it like everyone says it.
So matter of
No,
fact,
not
like,
everyone
Bro,
says
I've
it.
never
By
heard
the way-
anybody in my life say
By the way,
it.
you know that. I texted Alex Anthopoulos, the executive president of the
Yeah.
Atlanta Braves, and just said that day when he said it, he goes, no, we don't
No,
use that in
nobody's
conversation.
ever said POBO
he goes,
ever.
He goes, he does believe writers have said that. That writers have used
we all
that.
know
though.
that Connor is
in
a
how
writer.
can you write something that nobody knows what the hell it means?
but he believes, much like some of the terms that baseball insiders use
Yeah.
that they've created. He thinks that's
so
one
the
of them.
PX
POBO.
Bacon guys came
Yes,
up
exactly.
with the
Yeah,
POBOs.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Now, a good po' boy.
I love a good POBO.
Yeah, we had one of them in the
Hell
Super
yeah,
Bowl
man.
week.
So, how much of you being right and the people that make the decisions not being right impact your confidence level in them?
Oh, a big time.
Because look, Dave Dombrowski's a Hall of Famer, right? And what he did in his time as a POBO in baseball is spectacular.
By the way, I hate hearing that.
What?
I don't like hearing that either.
Like the praise, yeah.
No, I don't care what somebody did as a Hall of Famer, and what they did here doesn't matter to me.
Correct.
I don't care if a guy was a Hall of Famer elsewhere.
I don't care other words, but when you hear them, you hear the same things about Daryl Morey, except for Dave Dombrowski actually has something to back it up. Daryl Morey hasn't done anything.
Yeah, but
and you
here's
hear
the
same
deal.
kind of praise.
Dave Dombrowski, Daryl Morey, Brendan Gunn, right? Like, if I disagree with the decision, I'm going to disagree with the decision regardless of who they are.
Yeah.
So if Howie does something that I don't like the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade, or if they move on from Dallas Goedert, despite Howie being maybe the best executive in all of sports right now, I'm still comfortable saying, yeah, I don't really like that decision.
Yes.
But is there more of a chance you're like, okay, I could be a little bit more, maybe there's a better chance I'm wrong about this?
Dave
than if-
Dombrowski, to your point, has something to stand on, right? I hated the Sir Anthony Dominguez trade last year. I hate that they did not bring back either one of Hoffman or Estevez. And now, on May the 5th, I'm sitting here going, yeah, we were right about all three,
And
that guy was not.
And that's bad. It's bad that we were right about all three.
Now, do I think he could still make this Phillies team great?
I think Dave
I
Dombrowski.
think so.
I think Dave Dombrowski could absolutely, and it could all recover, and everything could be fine.
But sometimes maybe a mindset or a belief you could I disagreed with Daryl Morey's belief last year of the old roster.
And you know what is and we can say it because we had a lunch with Daryl, and just had we're able to have conversation with him. And Daryl Morey, to his credit, he's a guy that was like he engages in
He's open
conversation.
to talk. Yeah, and it's his belief,
And he's open to-
and he's
to-
allowed to have his beliefs.
But when he's
right?
opening this year, he said, "Oh well, this year we're going to go through the season and get younger players." Does he believe that, or is it just the exact opposite of what was wrong last year?
I don't believe Daryl Morey's a liar.
I think he finally realized it.
I think he finally.
But the problem is that it took this long to realize.
And to me, that's like, I mean, it's okay. It's okay to admit. I don't have any problem with an executive or whatever saying, you know what, it took me a while to come to the point that I've made an error in judgment, and I find the light bulb went off.
Yeah, it's just as long as you finally get there.
Yeah, I don't
right?
have any problem with that.
But here's the deal. I mean, the problem is, even though I didn't totally disagree with his mindset of veteran players win more than young players, right? Like there's the whole age 27 thing. That's when stars start winning for the first time. But you can't be drastic. Like they were old. Like Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon they're about to collect Social Security. Like
Kyle Lowry's been in the NBA for 20 years.
Yeah, like this team was too old, so he went too far with his belief of veterans.
I'm going to tell you, I bumped into half the Sixers roster at Dan White and Associates. I was
preparing their retirement.
I'm going in and meeting Dan White and Associates, and there's the Sixers roster. I'm looking at the board of like who has meetings that day, and I'm like, whoa.
So,
half the Sixers were there.
So our two topics today at 610-632-0975. What are your rules when it comes to praising or criticizing anybody in sports, player, coach, GM, you name it? And how much does you being right over the people that make the decisions impact your confidence level in the team? What do we got on the text line this morning, Gunner?
Yeah, we got Joe the Cynic checking in, saying with praise, I look at three things: production, effort, and IQ. If I have to question two of the three, then it's time to criticize.
So what were the three?
Production, effort, and IQ.
Okay, and
I think that's fair. I think that's really fair.
Because like effort, you know what? I can honestly say effort is inexcusable, like alone. Like if you don't put forth effort, I don't have to do the other two. Like you're playing a game, you're playing sports.
Like who?
Show effort.
If I was to say, do you have a problem judging effort? Like in your eyes, do you think you can judge effort? I'm always scared of judging effort because I'm always wondering if my eyes judge it right.
I get what you're saying. Like, look, the Trey Turner swing the other day, that wasn't a lack of effort. It was just a bad swing.
I think sometimes effort is masqueraded as somebody just doesn't.
Well, I could point out Kevin Byard. That playoff game against the Bucks. That man made business decisions.
He did.
Right? So, like, I can point out his effort comfortably.
Yeah.
And he could look me dead in the eyes and say, you're wrong. And I'd say, I don't think so, dude.
Dude, I don't think you're wrong.
I think you made business decisions in that game. So I could question effort. I get what you're saying. Like,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying to you is that I always feel a little uncomfortable.
Well, the Harper's weird, right?
Like, because to me, I'm never going to question Bryce Harper's effort. Ever.
But he won't run out a ground ball, but he'll try to stretch a clear single into a double.
Because to me, I don't think it's an effort question. I think it's him going, I've made a business decision. I'm smarter, that I understand what I need to do to maintain. I think it's a business decision that he's made that I think's dumb. I think it's dumb. He thinks it's smart. His manager allows it.
Right.
Why the hell his manager allows it? I swear to you, I don't know. I don't know why the manager allows it.
Give us another text message there, Gunner. One more.
Yeah, we got some people not happy with the Kepler thing. A lot of ones rolling in for that. Why was he out?
Like for yesterday.
Was he out of the lineup yesterday? He said, imagine being Kepler, been off his game for about a year or so. He gets on a heater, and then Rob Thompson sits him. It makes zero sense why it was off yesterday. That dude needs to continue to play every day.
It made zero sense that Kepler was out of the lineup. It made no sense. Again, MLB Network, if you watch, they tell you who are the hottest players in the game. And they're showing it to you on their little ribbon. And Rob Thompson says, nah, we're good. We're going to rest the hottest outfielder in the National League, who has great numbers against the starting pitcher today. We're resting him. Oh, and then we're going to put Schwarber in left field, who moves around outfield like I don't know what. I mean, he's terrible. He's terrible out there.
The only thing that
he looks terrible out there.
The only thing I could think of for the Kepler thing is the injury. To the texter's point, he was hurt, and maybe they're trying to be careful.
Stop.
No, I'm just trying to think. I don't agree with the decision, John.
No, but
I'm just trying to think.
No. There's nothing injured about him. Oh, there was nothing injured.
It's okay to think,
but there was nothing injured about him.
We should always talk about both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, but there was nothing injured about him. The spectrum, they tore it down for a reason.
Coming up next, we'll check more of our text messages. Also, what about the Eagles? We just had a conversation about being right about players that left or they didn't acquire, which they should have. The Eagles are on a heater right now. Could there be a player that has left this offseason that you may say, That's a departure that I wish didn't happen. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Monday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Connor Thomas.
It's crazy. They had so many picks to use, but instead of saying, hey, we're going to take a bunch of guys.
on here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. You never had an omelet until
Until I had cancer.
which bout?
Last one.
How do you go?
My entire life,
You-
I wasn't an eggs. I wasn't a big eggs guy, but I never had an omelet. Never ate an omelet. Had my first omelet at the fantastic Market Street Grill.
Wait. So hold on a second. In all your like,
In all my years, I never had an omelet.
and you like to go out.
Yeah, never.
Like,
but I'm not a big breakfast eater.
Okay.
I'm not a big breakfast out.
Like I'm a big diner guy. I'm a Jersey kid, so of course
I'm a diner.
you know.
I'm a diner person, but I wouldn't be a breakfast out. Like if I would have a breakfast sandwich, I would have if I had an egg, it was fried dead, like fried dead. So no, my egg cannot have any run.
Dude, more yolk the better.
No,
for me,
cannot have
man.
any run to it.
Dude,
None of that stuff.
I basically eat my eggs medium rare.
No,
Like,
cannot have any. No,
man.
mine cannot have any. Mine cannot have
What do
any
you
run
want? Do you
to
want
it.
to bite into it? It tastes like a chip. Like
I don't want any. I don't want any. I don't want any run. No,
nobody
run.
likes the runs.
So
no
wait,
running
so
egg.
are you?
Well,
Are
believe
you?
me, we almost learned that earlier today.
Are you now an omelet guy?
I love an omelet now,
How do you go?
and I am a huge fan of it. So go see Christian Greco on the team, and go get yourself your. If you're in the borough,
An omelet's a
No,
great
dude,
item.
with all due respect to Christian Greco, go see any diner or any.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
get an omelet. Omelets are delicious.
I said it's
ham
great,
and
but
cheese.
but the thing is, though, is what do you? I like the tomato in the omelet.
yeah, I like anything
Now,
in the
I
omelet.
like the a little bit of the peppers
yeah.
in an omelet.
So
now,
Western.
now I don't
veggie,
realize.
meat lovers, you name it.
Not now the onion. Not big in the onion in the morning. I did
Oh,
do the
dude,
onion.
I love the onion in the hash brown, home fries.
Don't need the onion in the morning though. Don't need that in the omelet. But a big fan of that now. Yes, I've become an omelet person. So let's go. So there we go. Yeah, I just didn't. I was a person who never. I remember I didn't try things. It's Cinco de Mayo. I did not have any kind of Mexican food till I was in my 30s.
Yeah, I remember you were saying.
I did
that
not
to
have
me
any
before.
kind of
That's-
Chinese food till I was in my 30s.
Yeah, that's insane.
Crazy.
That's insane to me.
Yes. Did not.
By the way, I was telling you during the break. I'm curious if you're doing this. Text the show. My buddy Johnny, who I play baseball with on in the Great Sunday League that we play in, he and his wife Meg are going down to Clearwater because the Phils are playing the Rays, and the Rays are playing in the Yankees minor league stadium because of Tropicana Field getting destroyed by the hurricane last year. And so it's their baby moon. So congratulations to the two of them.
Okay, congratulations.
I know baby moon was definitely not a thing. Was
for us.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
we
thought
went
that was a new thing.
We went to. I actually wrote a column for a magazine.
Oh, really?
Got a free trip.
That's
got
awesome.
got a free trip, and got to write a piece on a baby moon
Oh, how about that? That's cool.
down to Coconut Grove
That's awesome.
in Miami. How about that?
But they're heading down for a few days, and Johnny's only been there for a day trip, so he's asking me for all my insights. So I'm sending him a bunch of places. But I'm curious.
Get him to Burn Steakhouse.
I'm curious how many people are making this trip because when you go during spring training, it's so much fun, but it's packed, right? Because it's spring break.
It's crazy.
And then it's also the spring training crowd, which Baycare's sold out almost every single spring training baseball game for the Phillies. I'm curious how many people are making this trip now.
Well, it's great, and you get to see them in that small stadium,
Yeah, and it's not too hot. It's not brutal.
which is going to be awesome. And I would suggest that Burns Steakhouse may be a great place to go if you're a Phillies fan.
Yeah.
Maybe even tonight. Maybe a great place to go if you're a Phillies fan tonight.
If you're making the trip, let us know. 610-632-0975. All right, in this conversation that we were having about players that have left where we were right? We were right saying you should have brought this guy back. How did you let this guy go?
And we're laughing because of the fact that we're wrong so often. Like we're wrong
Speak
so
for
often.
yourself.
Yeah, we're wrong very often. Much like Kevin Cooney on Johan Rojas.
Are there any Eagles departures where you might say at some point this season they should have brought that guy back? Now, let's take Josh Sweat and Milton Williams off the table because they weren't going to pay those guys. So,
Yes.
Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, probably eventually Dallas Goedert, Oren Burks.
It's Slay or Rodgers.
That's where I go.
It's Slay or Rodgers.
I'm not saying I don't know anything about Keely Ringo to make a decision, but there are too many people that are so confident in Keely Ringo, and I just need to know why.
Here's why. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If anyone is telling you, they'll be fine. Keely Ringo, it's going to be fine. I promise you this. With 100% certainty, I have watched Keely Ringo play more than any one of the people that will try to convince me that they're saying it's fine. I am a Keely Ringo fan. I love him, and I love you, Mama Ringo. Love you. You know I love you. That's a bunch of BS. If anyone's telling you with great certainty that they're fine, oh, he's going to be fine, fine. They're just talking out their backside. because I am a huge fan, and I'm not saying that. And I've watched him play. I watched him play every snap of his college career, and I'm not saying that. So anybody who's saying it to you is just saying it because they're wishing and they're hoping.
Right.
And that's all they're doing. They're not saying it from any other point of confidence.
And look, maybe not. Maybe I go more Rodgers than Slay, even though you know how much I love Darius Slay.
I know you do, and we both do. We were both believers.
But you
Big
could have
believers.
maybe gotten Rodgers on a 2-year deal, so you'd have him for 2 seasons, because he was the guy they went to every time Slay was out.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you lost both of them, and now you're going to technically your third-string cornerback, right? Technically, you are handing the keys over to your third-string cornerback.
Their third stringer, who your defensive coordinator pretty much refused to play. He played other guys ahead of him.
Not only that, he goes down. Who else do you have?
Right. You got Adoree Jackson.
I promise you that there is going to be they're going to be shopping on the who gets cut June 1st.
Yeah.
and
The veteran corners that are available.
They're guaranteed, and I will also tell you that veteran may jump Keely Ringo on the depth chart.
Well, we can speak more about this coming up next, Johnny, because we have not talked to him since the Friday after the draft, right?
And he may disagree with us.
He could.
He could disagree with us on this, and that's good.
We finally let Andrew Deco get some rest. Not that he ever wants it.
We didn't bother him.
But Andrew Deco is going to be joining us coming up next. We can talk about just that conversation. Who could be the player that the Eagles either let walk or they just obviously couldn't afford, that may be the biggest loss or biggest impact their loss for the Eagles this upcoming season? We'll talk about that and all kinds of Birds discussions with our man Andrew Deco. Coming up next on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Ranger struggles in his season debut. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. After winning the first 2 games of their weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies dropped yesterday's game by a score of 11-9. Ranger Suarez got his first start of the season, and it's probably one he'd like to forget. He went 3 2/3 innings, and he allowed 7 earned runs. After going down 7-1 early, the Phillies battled all the way back. They forced extra innings before ultimately falling in the 10th. The team has an off day today before heading down to Florida to take on the Tampa Bay Rays this week. Last week, the big news surrounding the Eagles was the team picking up the 5th-year option of Jordan Davis. Well, Rob Maaddi of the Associated Press joined the station last week and said the young defensive tackle, he still has room to grow.
He's a guy who I still think that he can develop into that guy they expected when they drafted him as high as they did in the first round.
And the Flyers have a big night ahead of them. The NHL draft lottery is tonight at 7. They have the 4th best odds to obtain the number 1 pick, a 9.5% chance. As a matter of fact, and worst case, they have an 80% chance to pick up anywhere between the 4th and 6th pick. This update was brought to you by Moyer & Son. Follow Andrew Salciunas' lead and get a jump on a lush green lawn this spring. Right now, go to eMoyer.com for free estimates. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the truest championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hall of Fame baseball insider Jason Stark.
I've thought for a long time.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. When we talk about praising and critiquing players, coaches, GMs, what are your rules for it? We can ask our next guest this on the Comcast Business Hotline.
We love this guy.
Is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. My man is all over the place here on 97.5 The Fanatic, but we gave him a whole week off, John. We didn't want to bug him for 1 week. He needed his rest.
He did, and he seems rested up.
Yeah. Well,
I talked to him Friday. He seems very rested up.
Well, we got rookie mini camps to react to, too. Our man Andrew Deco joins us. Andrew, what's going on, brother? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're doing
Feeling
great.
good, dude.
Curious to get your insight on this. Now, obviously, you come from a little bit of a different perspective, being the fine journalist that you are. What are your rules when it comes to praising or critiquing a player or a coach or a decision maker like a GM or a president of baseball or basketball operations? What kind of rules do you follow to try to keep the same energy?
I think time is really the ultimate indicator for me. Sometimes I feel like as a collective, there's this instinct or inclination to kind of go and pounce on a player, an executive, way too early. Context is so important. And you guys have known, as I've said this when we work together, for young players in particular, for me, I'm always very slow to go one way or the other because you have to allow young players the time to grow and develop. Not every player progresses at the same rate. So you might see someone who's a Quinyon Mitchell, and you might see somebody who takes a little bit of time, like a Nolan Smith. But it doesn't mean that the Eagles or any organization necessarily missed on the pick. But you have to give things time to kind of develop and let things play out a little bit. But I think in terms of GMs and executives, they have more of a body of work. So there's a trend, there's a track record, and I think that is fair to have early to kind of, I wouldn't even call that rash or hasty decision making because there's that established track record there. So it depends on the circumstance, if that makes sense.
When you get to see a rookie minicamp, and a lot of people think it's just guys running around in shells and shorts, so there's not a lot to learn. Is it more about learning a little bit about makeup? And I was asking you the other day on a phone call about, can you sort of tell who are the leaders going to be out of this class?
Yeah, John, and really what I was able to take away, because you're right, you can't really glean much on the on-field portion. We were out there for about 20 minutes anyway. But at the podium, how they conduct themselves, how they answer questions, it kind of gives you a peer into their mindset and how they're wired. And for me, I particularly came away very impressed with Miles Hinton, the tackle who the Eagles drafted out of Michigan on day 3. He talked about how he didn't even really realize how good his father was, Chris Hinton, who was a 7-time Pro Bowler, and he was a first-round pick offensive tackle. He didn't realize how good he was until he was 13 years old. And he has a lot of different interests. And I just came away, I thought he was very interesting. Drew Kendall, the center guard who the Eagles drafted, you see what he kind of goes through. His father, Pete Kendall, was drafted in the first round, offensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks, and he talked about body preservation and some of the different methods that he learned from him about how to make sure that he's ready for the long haul. Talked about meeting Cam Jurgens. I think if you look at someone like a Mac McWilliams, the corner, he talked about, I'm 5'10", 190 pounds. I'm not the biggest, per se, but when I'm on the field, I'm the biggest guy out there. That's my mindset, and that's how I approach it. So they're getting a lot of players that I feel like have this mentality where they're confident in themselves and they know exactly what's expected of them. So I was able to kind of take away more from the pressers than I was obviously for the on-the-field work.
Speaking of some of those later round picks, and you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And real quick, Andrew, I'm sorry I got to do this. Let's do the keyword charge. The keyword is charge, CHARGE. That's the word you enter on 97.5 The Fanatic's mobile app, 975thefanatic.com, or by texting it to 45911. Again, the keyword charge. You have 25 minutes to do it. It's all brought to us by our friends at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia, voted best casino in PA by Casino Player Magazine. Of those players that you were sort of talking about, and there's obviously much more to it, let's forget Jahad Campbell, Andrew Makuba, and Ty Robinson for a second. Those later round picks, are there any guys that we aren't talking about enough that could potentially make some sort of impact in their rookie season for the Eagles, and not just from a special team standpoint?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say Drew Kendall, the center/guard, because let's not forget, last season, whenever Cam Jurgens had to leave the game, what did they do? The Eagles slid over Landon Dickerson from left guard to center, and then they had to bring in Tyler Steen. So you make yourself a little bit vulnerable in two spots. Well, they thought they had their center last year when they drafted Dylan McMahon, and it didn't work out. He was waived, and then he ended up with the Rams. But they have their guy right now in Drew Kendall, and he talked about watching a lot of Jason Kelce and how that was the player that he emulated growing up. And he can also play guard. And I've gotten a lot of questions about him in terms of, is he viable competition for the Kenyon Greens and the Tyler Steens of the world? I'm not there yet, but I think the fact that you saw the different shufflings on the offensive line at times last season, I think Drew Kendall is a name who you're going to want to get to know just because he does have that interior versatility.
The Vanilla Gorilla. I like the idea, just like the nickname. I like the idea of fits. I love the idea of energy of fitting in guys. Fit is going to be a big part of this class, right?
Absolutely. And a guy we haven't talked about, John, is a Bulldog, a former Bulldog, Smile Mondon.
That is, and they love Smile.
And that's a player that, they do. And that's a player who fits the bill of what a modern NFL linebacker looks like. 6'2", 225 pounds, rangy. He was a 3-year starter for Georgia, high character, toughness, and he kind of has that, he exudes that leadership that really reminds me a lot of Nakobe Dean. And it just so happens that they were very close, and Nakobe reached out to him, welcomed him, and really has been helped him throughout the pre-draft process. So they're bringing in high character players who are coming from winning programs. They know exactly what's expected of them. So, yes, fit's important as well, and so is character, as the Eagles have continued to find players that have the highest character and are willing to compete.
And we can share this now. I was talking to Andrew on Friday. That Smile was actually the guy that the Georgia program was talking about with me that they thought
is that right? How about that?
That it was not Starks, that it was Smile that they thought was going to end up here all along.
How about that?
The second Bulldog, which is crazy because that wasn't even on my radar. But as a player you liked, but is it somebody that you ever expected to be here?
No, because I didn't think the Eagles – I thought he was going to go a little bit higher, to be honest with you. He was my fourth-rated linebacker in this class, and really it was a shallow class of linebackers, John, but I just didn't think that they were going to be in the mix based on where they were picking. But I'll tell you what, another thing that really stood out about Smile Mondon is that, he was a 3-year starter, but he also embraces playing special teams. He played special teams. I think he said his favorite unit to play off was the kickoff team. So that's a selfless player who does whatever it takes, whatever the team asks of him, which is really goes with the trend of all the players that the Eagles have on the roster right now.
Andrew, we're watching the NBA playoffs and Major League Baseball, and there are a lot of players that the Sixers could have kept or acquired. The Phillies could have kept or acquired. And it seems like we're right on a lot of these players, and the decision makers have not been. Now, Howie Roseman is on a heater where it seems like whatever decision he makes, it works. And if it doesn't work, he's got a backup plan, like the Bryce Huff situation from last year. Which of the players that have departed and could potentially depart, and like Dallas Goedert, do you think would make the biggest impact negatively for the Eagles losing that player?
I'm going to say Isaiah Rodgers, because what he was able to provide last year, being a player who, at a moment's notice, Andrew, he could step in mid-game and replace either Slay or Quinyon Mitchell. He has experience. He's a good outside player, can take away the football. You know what you have with a player like that. Cornerback, for me, is the most interesting battle because you have Keely Ringo, who's really an unknown entity. He's only played just over 300 snaps in his career, versus Dory Jackson. But if you have Isaiah Rodgers, he's already starting opposite Quinyon Mitchell, and you kind of feel good about that cornerback situation. Keely Ringo may pan out, but I think losing Isaiah Rodgers is going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say detrimental, but a little bit more pertinent than it's being led on right now.
Can I give you a little bit of breaking news for you?
What do we got?
This is for Andrew Deco. This is like fastball stuff. He likes to make his calendar out in the future, right?
Yes.
Next year, Andrew Deco is going to want to maybe go to Pittsburgh because it's a close draft. Well, in 27, he's going to hop on the train or get in the car.
Baltimore.
D.C.
Wow. How about it?
D.C. for the draft. My boys, the Junkies, down in D.C. sending me the news. D.C. will host the draft in 2027. They're breaking the news.
It's almost like Josh Harris has some pull with the NFL already.
There you go.
I'll be there.
There you go.
That's
It'll
awesome.
be good.
Andrew, listen, man, keep up
Great
the
job,
great work
Andrew.
as always. We always love chopping it up. I'm sorry that we didn't talk to you last week. Like it felt off. Felt like a weird week.
Yeah, my week didn't feel quite as complete as it normally does, but that's okay, Andrew, because you and I are working together for 4 hours later this week.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, Friday.
Oh, you're off. That's
Yeah,
right. Oh, dude, nice.
I have a college graduate on Thursday.
Andrew, we could talk about John. We could talk about John Hightower for 4 hours because only some of us, including Brendan Gunn, got that one.
That's true football guy stuff.
True football guy stuff.
Take care, brother.
Good, man.
You're the
I'll see
man.
you,
There
man.
he is, Andrew Deco on the Comcast Business Hotline. Did you see that John Hightower responded?
Yeah, that was awesome, dude.
Yeah, so we do, if you guys follow our Instagram account, 975 The Fanatic, we do like the Name That Eagle, Name That Sixer.
And he responded?
And he responded just with the laughing emojis. So that's, I believe, the second time because I think, didn't Aaron Altair
did.
responded at one
Yeah, he
point?
did.
Yeah. And John Hightower responded.
I love that.
And it makes me think anybody could be watching those videos, man.
I love that. That's awesome.
So I think somebody called him a draft bust in that video, and I wonder if that's what he was laughing at.
Dylan McTrollan does a great job.
Oh, dude, it's my favorite bit of content that we do.
He does a great job with that stuff.
And I feel such pride when I get one right.
He does a really good job coming up with different ideas, and today we'll have another one that Haley's going to help put together.
Yeah, that comes your way at 8:25. We'll explain more coming up next, but we have a very scientific mathematical equation.
Don't even worry about what Jason Martinez is going to break down like the draft lottery.
We're going to tell you which pick the Flyers get in about 15 minutes. But first, coming up next, today's headlines with Brendan Gunn here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
Plays it one time out.
It's a little less than that. You will find out who the Flyers will be selecting or what pick they will have.
Well, we're going to know. How about this? They got a 20% chance of getting the first, second, or third pick.
Correct.
And so we know so a 1 out of 5 chance that tonight we could end up with some good news.
It's a very scientific approach that we will be taking in a few minutes. And you will find out that, I mean, this is, it's all accurate what we will be doing.
There we go.
In about 15 minutes. All right, give us a text message, Gunner, and then we got headlines with you. So what do we got? What are the people saying?
Yeah, we got Eddie and Chester checking in saying, I would like to say it's just a production thing, but it's more of a feel thing for me. If the guy goes out there and I like him, I'm always going to like him. If he's not so much my thing, I'm not going to root for him as hard as I would somebody else.
See, and that's a problem. Like, I get that that's the Nick Castellanos poster child of that. There are people that don't rock with Nick Castellanos because they don't like his attitude and they have the bad taste in their mouth of his first season with the Phillies, and it was really bad. But Nick Castellanos has been one of your more consistent players over the last 3 seasons, two plus seasons now with the Phillies, and yet there are people that will go, every time he strikes out with the slider low and away, it's, there we go.
Well, then just make both statements independently. Then make the statement of Nick's that you don't like Nick Castellanos because he's got an obnoxious attitude, and you can acknowledge that Nick Castellanos has been one of their most clutch hitters, especially in postseason baseball, that this organization.
Yeah, but he's saying he roots harder for some, and I get it. Everybody has their favorite players, right? Like I totally understand.
Why are you rooting against or rooting less hard for any Philly player?
Exactly.
Like, why? What does that gain you?
Nothing.
I'm rooting hard for every Philly player to do well. Why would you?
Like, did you want Darius Slay to give a touchdown in the Super Bowl, or did you want him to intercept the pass?
Like, I don't get it.
To me, that makes no sense. Whether you like the guy or not, he plays for your team.
Yeah, but I can also see why people cheer harder for Jalen Hurts because he shows his head, he puts his head down, goes to work every day.
I get cheering harder for your favorites.
Somebody.
Yeah.
I get having a favorite, but
there are people that like to see certain players, depending on their like or dislike for a player. They like seeing certain players struggle because they can then say that they were right, or I don't like that guy, so I want him to not play well, even though they wear a Phillies uniform or a Sixers or Flyers or Eagles.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a vendetta against the guy. I think they just like being right. Like that's what it comes down to.
And that's a weird thing to do.
Amazing.
By the way, before we get to headlines, I want to give a quick shout out. Speaking of the Phillies, the Phillies brought Prince to the ball game on Friday. Princeton Bailey, he was the player that was doing the Jose Alvarado.
Oh, yeah. I saw some of that.
They brought him before the game on the field. He got to meet Jose Alvarado. And, of course, fitting, he was at the game where Alvarado closed the door on Friday against the D-backs. The Philadelphia Phillies. I love them with all my heart. That organization, the people on the inside that you don't really know much about. I'm talking about the general public.
Sure.
Like, we know John Brazier, but I don't know how many people know that there's a guy that's been with the team for over 30 years with the title of Director of Fun and Games, right?
I would tell you that I always say it is like even the people who work the sections.
The ushers, yeah.
The peanuts.
Yeah.
Peanuts. Cheryl Spielvogel. I used to work with Cheryl in the business world. And Cheryl is one of the most endearing people. Like people flock to take their picture with Cheryl.
Yeah.
I used to work with her at SMS back in Malvern, back in the 80s.
That's awesome.
I mean, like the people at Citizens Bank Park that are the part-timers are exceptional.
Yeah.
But the people in the Phillies organization, they go the extra mile. The Phillies understand customer service in their organization as well as any I've ever seen in pro sports.
Yep. So I just wanted to give him a shout out because I thought that was cool Friday
That was
night.
exceptional. What an impressive young man.
Yeah.
Like, it's really exciting. And Jose Alvarado, that's how you make even bigger fans.
Fans for life. Absolutely. Yep. All right, time now for today's headlines with the one and only Brendan Gunn.
Today's headlines with the one and only Brendan Gunn.
Brought to us by who?
Yep, the one and only Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. Over the weekend, the basketball world had to say goodbye to one of the all-time greats. Greg Popovich stepped down from the Spurs, 5-time NBA champion, pretty much the greatest coach I've ever seen. What are your guys' thoughts on that? NBA losing one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, I mean, look, unfortunately, because of his health, it was time, and you can't. It's hard. It's such a rough world where it's like, yeah, I know you're a legend, but your health, we need a consistent coach. And unfortunately, because of his health, it was time. But, I mean, that guy is a legend in the sport of basketball. He absolutely is, and coached multiple championships. And it was cool to see him have Wemby. But unfortunately, his health, it took him away from it.
Becky Hammon should be his head coach. That should be the first. We should see the first woman take over.
But they already announced the new head coach. She
should have been her.
Well, because she's now with
the Las Vegas Aces.
Aces, yeah.
It should have been Becky Hammon. Becky Hammon was his coach in waiting forever. They had a chance to do it. I'm surprised that they didn't. But he is a brilliant head coach. I think he's done the angry old man routine for too long. Like, I think it was time. But wandered off the path. But he is a brilliant coach.
And if it wasn't for his health, he'd be going forever.
I mean, he's a brilliant.
Because he's going to be part of their front office.
And I would hear stories about him that Shaq would tell about how that he was one of the masters at every road trip, every city they would go to. He would have a personal meal with one player.
That's cool.
Every single time. So, and it would be multiple times a year.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, Andrew, we're going to Cleveland. We're having breakfast.
Yeah.
What
that's
day?
Cool.
We're going to have breakfast together.
Tiago Splitter. We're going to go get dinner today.
And he would have a one-on-one, and just that was that player's
Sixers
chance.
legend, by the way.
That was that player's chance. And Shaq would say that the players would say to him, it was almost never about basketball.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I love that.
It was about how's everything going in your life? How's everything going with your family?
Speaking about life, and a guy who has a couple of rings now, A.J. Brown, he won the ring a couple of weeks ago, and then he put a ring on it this weekend with his now fiance. Congrats to them.
And that should be the story.
That should be the story. Unfortunately, social media exists, and they noticed, I guess, Jalen Hurts wasn't there. Who really cares, right? But Jalen Hurts was not at A.J. Brown's engagement party. No deal, obviously, right?
Maybe the scheduling conflict that he had last week continued into the weekend.
Well,
people lost their minds over a scheduling conflict. Maybe that is still the case.
I am guessing that the schedule. By the way, many people running with that scheduling conflict, and Jalen Hurts has been doing a prolonged honeymoon period.
Yes. He has hundreds of millions of dollars.
And they have been doing a prolonged honeymoon. And many people are taking that and turning it into politics.
Yeah. And now they're trying to create beef between him and A.J. Brown.
And by the way,
I had to scratch and claw my way to my honeymoon. All right, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to.
And he doesn't. And they have made various steps on their honeymoon. And by the way, there were two other Eagles players that I have been told were on vacations out of the country that were scheduled for after the Super Bowl during off season, not to conflict with any off season workouts and everything. That were already also a conflict.
Maybe they picked that honeymoon period on purpose just to avoid it.
Well, should have made this the whole show, obviously.
Some people,
right? A.J. Brown,
some
Jalen
people
Hurts
are
beef.
I'm sure somebody will.
Some people are politically obsessed, and when they don't know what they don't know, they decide to make things about politics that might not be about politics.
And now also the same with Hurts
and about
A.J.
Hurts
Brown.
and A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
And by the way,
congratulations to A.J. Brown. Period. End of story.
What about John Legend? How much do you think John Legend's... You think A.J.'s having to pay him to come and sing?
Was he there live?
Probably.
John Legend was there.
Yeah, then he probably paid him.
John Legend was there live.
Yeah.
I mean...
He probably paid him.
No, but the thing is, though, John Legend and him have crossed paths before. I don't know if it's like, hey, buddy, or that's a pretty cool thing.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
A.J. Brown, you are freaking smooth, dude.
All right, coming up next, our very scientific approach in telling you which pick the Flyers will land tonight during the NHL Draft Lottery. We do our own lottery scientifically next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports update.
Not the best debut for Ranger Suarez. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. After winning the first 2 games of their weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies dropped yesterday's game by a score of 11-9. Ranger Suarez got his first start of the season, and it's one he'd probably like to forget. He went 3 2/3 innings, and he allowed 7 earned runs. After going down 7-1 early, the Phillies battled all the way back to 4 extra innings. Ultimately, though, they did fall in the 10th. The team has a day off today before heading down to Florida to start a series with the Tampa Bay Rays tomorrow. Last week, the big news surrounding the Eagles was the team picking up the 5th-year option for Jordan Davis. Well, Rob Motti of the Associated Press joined the station last week and says the young defensive tackle still has a lot of room to grow.
He's a guy who I still think that he can develop into that guy they expected when they drafted him as high as they did in the first round.
And the Flyers have a big night ahead of them as the NHL Draft Lottery is tonight at 7. They have the 4th best odds to obtain the number 1 pick at 9.5%. And worst case, they have an 80% chance to pick up anywhere between 4th and 6th. This update was brought to you by Electrical Workers Local 269 and the Electrical Training Alliance, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Local 269, NECA, and the Electrical Training Alliance can offer a career with no college debt. To learn more, go to IBEW269.com. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the truest championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation, business trip.
97.5 The Fanatic.
All right, it's 8:26 here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic on a championship Monday. I haven't mentioned this yet today. My bad. Football Mondays on The Fanatic, presented to you by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors.
We love those folks.
Visit nopayBryant.com. I can't forget that it's a championship Monday. And don't forget, we have the $50 Primo gift card to give away at some point today because it is National Hoagie Day. Plus, we have the pair of general admission tickets to Maury's Piers for the Eagles Autism event. So we will get to those at some point during the show. But right now, we are going to do a very scientific, take a very scientific approach in finding out what pick the Flyers will land with tonight, because tonight is the NHL Draft Lottery. So, Johnny, you had this idea weeks ago.
Yes.
And it's very scientific.
It is very scientific.
Honestly, scientists across the country
Honestly,
should
I don't
be
understand.
jealous of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, because we do science on this show.
E
we don't-
equals MC square has got nothing on this.
We don't half-ass this thing. We really don't at all. And Haley Taylor-Simon's going to be a part of it.
Johnny Einstein.
Brendan Gunn will be too. And I even took it the extra mile yesterday. Driving out, listening to Kevin Cooney and Dee Lynam, and I drove out in the midst of the monsoon yesterday in order to get in for our YouTube audience the Bean Boozled, and because Andrew Salciunas, my partner,
Yes.
is a big fan of Harry Potter,
See, this is very nice of you.
I got the Birdie Bots.
Birdie Bots every flavored beans.
Tastes like bogey.
Bogey. I said that to him
Well,
this morning.
I didn't even realize it. I didn't get the reference. But it's the these are atrocious flavored jelly beans. There are jelly beans that are flavored like boogers, dirty diaper, dog poop.
Nice.
But then there are good ones too. Pomegranate, cherry.
So explain
So,
the.
here's the scientific nature of it. I also got a box of regular Jelly Belly, a little bag,
Yeah, just
small
good-
bag.
good jelly
of good
beans.
ones. And I got speckled ones because some people may cheat. I already knew Haley was going to try to cheat.
Oh, no, I'm
because
closing my eyes.
Oh, no, everyone has to close their eyes. So what we did is, and thankfully my wife has better eyes, 80%, the Flyers have an 80% chance that the balls will not drop their way tonight, and they will not improve their pick. They could actually go back to the 5th or the 6th pick.
Hate that.
They have the 4th pick currently. But they have a 20% chance, 1 out of 5, that they could get the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd pick. 3rd pick is highly unlikely. The 1st or the 2nd pick, much more likely. They have a 1 in 10 chance to get the 1st pick, a 1 in 10 chance to get the 2nd pick.
Beautiful.
I think that's pretty cool. So what I did is 80% of the jelly beans in here are the bad ones out of the Bean Boozled.
With booger and dog poop.
Booger,
and stuff.
dog
Good,
poop,
good,
dirty
good,
diaper.
Good, yes.
And
good.
the Betty Bots. So what we will do is we will all reach in, and we're going to take them randomly, and we're going to do a couple of these each.
So
and
we're
gonna
each
chew 'em.
grabbing 5, but then we're eating one of the 5. Or are
No,
we
no,
just
no.
grabbing one?
No, we're going to grab one, and then
Okay.
we're going to go around, and then we'll do it again.
Okay.
And we'll see how lucky we are on this. So, Andrew, don't look. Just reach in. Take one. Yeah, just take one.
All right.
Andrew's taking one first.
I'm showing it to the audience because I'm not even looking at it.
Not looking at it. Andrew's got one.
Do you see?
I see it. Yeah, no, you don't have to look at it. Just
Oh,
put it
can
in
I
your
just
mouth and
eat it
chew
now?
it. Put it in your mouth and chew it. That could be a good one or a bad one.
Tastes like pepper.
I don't think that classifies as a good one.
Did you get? You either got licorice or burnt rubber.
Burnt rubber.
You got burnt rubber.
As it's kicking in.
So you got burnt rubber.
So the Flyers
It tastes
are.
like
So they're either staying put or going back to the 5th or 6th pick.
Yeah, no, the more.
It's burnt rubber.
It's burnt rubber.
Okay, you want to shake
I wish
for me?
it was pepper.
Okay, you
That's
trust me. I'm
foul,
looking
dude.
away. So Haley, I'm looking away. Just
I'd
so you
rather
know.
have burnt
No,
rubber
I'm
than
looking away.
poop.
So I'm making my pick. I'm looking my pick, but I'm just that I'm looking away.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Okay.
going to be in my. That's good. Just
Okay,
a
I'm not looking at the
horrible
color.
take.
I don't want to look at the color because I'm afraid.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. It's good.
Okay, so you got.
What color was it?
It looked like red, kind of.
I got cherry.
Oh, there you go.
We just went up to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd pick.
We're up there.
That is delicious.
Well, you did. I got the
You got
4th
burnt
pick.
rubber.
I got
Wait a minute,
burnt
though.
rubber, man.
Wait a minute, though. That means 1 out of the 2. We just got A good one.
Oh, no. So the odds are not in my favor.
Right.
Haley
so
Taylor
Haley's gonna
Simon.
go.
Keep your eyes closed. Eyes closed. Choose Haley. Here we go. Haley.
Yeah, you're fine. What could be worse than burnt rubber?
Oh, my gosh.
Terrible.
I guess we got a bad. I guess we got a bad pick.
What color?
Oh God.
Ew.
What color was it? Any
Ew.
idea?
It was like poop yellow.
Oh,
What
yes.
the hell is poopy yellow?
You got wet dog.
Oh, no.
She got wet dog. She got wet dog. Yellow. You said it was yellowy?
Yes.
She got wet dog.
Can I double or nothing
And you
this?
said wet dog. Now, Brandon, I want you to get. Brandon's got to get
Can
in
I
here
double or
and get
nothing?
one.
I gotta get
Yeah, you're
burnt.
doing-
I gotta get burnt rubber.
Out of your mouth?
Even though this could be worse.
Okay, so we're right now 1 out of the 3 has been good.
I think I got your poop yellow here.
No, not again. I'm saying.
It's
Oh, there you go.
This is yellow with speckled brown
Oh,
spots.
Yeah.
this isn't good.
That's what I had.
Oh God.
Is it bad?
Oh, what am I eating?
Yeah, so now my reaction
terrible?
wasn't that bad.
Oh,
Is it terrible?
oh, it's dreadful.
Oh, geez.
Oh, God, what am I eating?
Stinky socks.
Oh,
It's stinky socks. Does it taste
Oh,
like
when
stinky
you hear
socks?
the- yeah.
Mildew? Does it taste mildew or stinky socks?
and when you hear the word,
Oh,
as
we got mildew or stinky socks.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
eating it, though.
Yeah, of
You can
course.
spit it out.
Why are you eating it? Just
I'm a
spit
man,
it out.
damn
You can
it.
spit it out. All right,
it
well,
out.
one out of 4
My
has been
parents
good.
told me to finish everything on my plate.
Oh, jeez. That's how you got to be chubby tuna.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. Okay, go. Brendan, go.
Oh, my
so you can get
God.
it so we can get you in there. Oh, my God.
Oh, it's
All right,
stuck
one-
in my teeth.
Is
so
it
like,
terrible?
Yeah.
All right,
man.
1 out of 4 has been good. Brandon Gunn's going to eat his right now.
I've
Come on,
had
Brandon.
a rough stretch here.
What is it?
He's about to throw up over there.
What color? What color was it?
Dude. What's that? No.
What color was it? What color was it?
Dude, are you actually going to throw up in there?
What color was it?
Dude, he might actually yak.
Dude, it's brown.
Oh, it's brown. You got dog poop or dirty diaper?
Dude, nah, that's disgusting.
He might actually yak.
Oh my God, I'm not good with this stuff.
Do I have to go? Do I have to go then?
My water cup's empty.
I gotta go. All right, here's my second one. Second one, I'm not
I'm worried
looking.
he might actually puke.
I'm not looking.
I think you won again. John's got this game rigged.
Delicious.
Yeah, all right. So John's got this game rigged, clearly.
I got lime. I got lime or juicy pear. Come on, Haley. Don't look. Don't look,
God, I
Haley.
still have coffee.
Don't look, Haley. All right, where's Haley going?
No.
Eat it. What
did you
color
get
is
this
it?
time?
Oh, it's the speckled yellow.
The poop yellow.
Oh, God. Oh, this is horrible.
There you got paper right over there. Is it the same one? No. Oh, gosh.
All right, so what you're saying is, for the most part, the Flyers are not moving up.
No, I got 2 though.
Yeah, but the rest of us have been getting
Wait a minute,
crap.
though. Wait a
Literally.
minute,
He
though.
literally got poop.
Wait a
Dirty
minute, though.
diaper.
Wait a minute, though.
Tastes like urine.
Andrew, you may have gotten urinal. One of them is urinal cake. You got urinal cake.
Where's a primo hoagie
Wait a
when
minute.
you
would
need
have,
it?
do I have, Andrew, so you had 2. I had 2. Haley had 2.
Guns
Brandon had
reaction
1.
was
Brandon, you
enough.
want another?
I'm coming.
Oh, he's coming for one more. Because
God.
guess what? This is good news.
This is science.
I
No.
think you tricked all of
Brandon,
us.
no, I
Yeah,
didn't.
how does John, the guy that brings the bag in, gets the 2 good ones?
This is
I
so
didn't
delicious.
I didn't look.
Oh, God.
Both times I got lucky.
I'm worried for Gunner.
Here we go.
Dude,
Gunner, don't eat it till you're on the mic.
he almost yacked. I'm not joking.
I kind of want to see him throw
Till
up.
you're on the mic. Do not eat it. All right, ready? What
All
color
right,
is it? What color is it?
It was red, so I think I'm in good shape.
Good thing you don't have an update here.
Is it good?
I think we're in good standing with
3
this
out of
one.
8.
All right, 3 out of 8.
All right, good. 3 out of 8. That tells me we have 3. That's 375. 37.5%. We have blown away the odds.
Yeah, not Andrew and I.
No, we've blown away the odds, though. That means
we brought
I
those
would
odds
say,
down.
Hey,
Yeah.
someone get. I'm texting Keith Jones right now. 37.5. Our odds say the Flyers are moving up in the draft tonight.
Woo!
There you go.
This is
Good
the
job.
very
And
scientific.
by the way, later on, we challenge every other staff member to participate.
I think Connor's going to end up throwing up.
No, you think so? No, he's not going to be here.
Yeah, he's fine.
Can't taste. Can't smell.
Connor literally eats trash.
That is
Connor
true.
eats garbage.
I just want that to be on the
Old
radio that people
McDonald's
say.
sitting on his nightstand.
Yeah, exactly. Connor, that means nothing to
There
him.
you go. Thanks for participating.
Well, thanks for that.
Flyers move up in the draft tonight. And remember what show told you it was going to happen.
Oh, that's just horrible.
Good job, Hale.
Those jelly beans were just as bad as James Harden in Game 7. See how I transition
How
professionally?
predictable.
Earlier this morning, we talked about reputation of a player and how much that plays in part of how you talk about them, how you praise them, how you critique them. We saw a former athlete yesterday add to that reputation. Or this weekend, on Saturday. It's Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you. So text us at 610-632-0974. Get the taste of burnt rubber out of my mouth, so that's horrible. Championship Monday on the Fanatic, presented to you by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com. As Gunnar said last segment, I could go for a primo hoagie because
just to get the taste out of your mouth?
Just to get the taste out of our mouth.
I got lemon, lime, and cherry. And I did not cheat.
Good for you.
I just got lucky on that one. So, but we are going to put this to the whole station. We're gonna walk the halls with this and get some good
hopefully
content.
people buy into it because there might be some that say no, not me, sir.
Really?
I don't know. We'll see.
Who will wimp out?
I don't know.
Look,
based off our reactions, I'm sure somebody might.
I will promise you this. Dutz won't. Mike Missanelli won't. Bill Colarulo won't. Ray Dunn won't. So, I mean, I know the whole next show won't.
All right, bring it on.
They won't. And, now any of the rest of the shows, I don't know. Peter and Stan, they make like $10 million a year down the hall. And that whole show. How about that Candy Winters on the country station? And Tim Kirchin's Spawn. Well, they do it. Come on, they would do it. He's got to do it.
Absolutely. All right,
on.
let's give out the $50 gift card to Primo Hoagies right now. First caller to the phone line. So, again, contest line down, 610-632-0975. Our first caller will win the $50 gift card to Primo Hoagies. Thanks to Primo Hoagies, they'll be dropping off their new catering boxes for our staff on National Hoagie Day. Make sure to celebrate with $7 Primo size Italian turkey and cheese or ham and cheese available all day in-store or online. It's not just a hoagie, it's a Primo. Again, the first caller to 610-632-0975 will win that $50 Primo Hoagie gift card. Now, real quick before we get into this Harden discussion, at what point can you force yourself to be called up? Otto Kemp, I've mentioned him to you a few times now.
I just love the name.
It's a great name. So I told you a few weeks ago that Otto Kemp was hitting the ball really well from the right side of the plate, so they moved him to the outfield. Because remember, the Phillies needed outfield pop. He hits another home run yesterday, John. Here's Otto Kemp. Again, AAA. But AAA at the age of 25, at what point do you force your way up into the big leagues? He's hitting .344 in 150 plate appearances. So he is 44 for 128. He has 14 doubles, 1 triple, and 10 home runs. He has 25 of his 44 hits are extra bases. And he's driven in 35 runs. And he's walked 14 times. His on-base percentage is .433. At what point do you just get the call up to see if he can do it at the big leagues? He's not a prospect where you're worried about control. You're worried about anything
wait
like
a
that.
minute. The Phillies, he's probably too young for them. Isn't he like 25?
Yeah, he's 25.
The Phillies, it's way too young. Now, the Braves would have brought him up before his high school graduation.
He would have been signed to another deal already.
Yeah, the Braves would already have gotten him to sign a deal at gunpoint.
But here's the
when
deal.
he was 20 before he could have his first drink.
He has not had a season like this in any of the years. He's been called up. Obviously, he outplayed single A, so they moved up to
bring
double
him
A.
up now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at what point? Again, he's not Justin Crawford where you're going, this guy's in our plans for hopefully the next 5+ years, so we need to worry. You don't need to, but they will worry about the control aspect. We have to call him up past that specific date. Otto Kemp doesn't have that. Now, I don't think he's on their 40-man roster, so you'd have to remove somebody from the 40-man roster, but still, at what point do you go, hey, this guy's tearing the cover off the ball. We just got to give him a shot. Now, Weston Wilson had a nice day yesterday with the big home run, so maybe he's
Weston
blocked.
Wilson, and then another clutch hit in extra innings.
So maybe teams are calling already about Otto Kemp, and they're probably saying, hold on, let's wait till the deadline or whatever. But it's just interesting. This guy's tearing the cover off the ball in AAA, so just something to keep an eye on.
And his name's Otto Kemp.
And his name's Otto Kemp. I mean,
he sounds like a villain from a Die Hard movie. I mean, he deserves to be brought up just for that.
Last Kemp in Major League Baseball, you guys remember?
In Major League Baseball?
Oh, I'm blanking on his name. Dodgers guy.
Dodgers guy.
Oh, yeah, Jeff Kemp.
Matt
Kemp.
Kemp.
Matt
Kemp.
Kemp. Oh, by the way, Matt Kemp. True story. Awesome. Matt Kemp became a Brave.
Yes, for like a year or two.
So Matt Kemp came to the Braves, and he bought and the Braves moved into the Battery. Well, our studios were in the Battery. So Matt Kemp bought one of the top units, moved into one of the condos of the top unit floor that literally you could look across to his patio from our studios. Well, Matt Kemp put on a bunch of weight.
Yeah, no, he did.
And
he used to go on dates with Rihanna, so I guess he fell off pretty bad.
He put on like 40, 45 pounds when he came to the Braves. And his food, sometimes he would have food at night and he would leave stuff out on the balcony. And a host may have taken pictures of stuff that was left out in the balcony. And it caused real problems with Mr. Kemp.
I wonder who that host was.
And it caused a meeting with the Braves brass to say, stop taking pictures. But it did. And we ended up working it out.
You probably still have them on your phone.
It was probably.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably do. But it was funny because there were Braves players who said, that's pretty funny. Because they weren't too happy with his
I'm sure. Yeah,
his workout.
No, you're
routine.
right. It happened.
They weren't happy.
All right. Our main topic that we started the show with today was what are your rules when it comes to praising or criticizing a player? And we asked about this locally, but let's turn it nationally a little bit, whether or not reputation plays a part of it. So I remember when the James Harden sweepstakes were going on, part 1 and part 2, because remember, first he goes to Brooklyn and then he comes to Philadelphia. I wanted James Harden, and I still think James Harden shouldn't have left. I still believe that Joel Embiid plays his best season of his career thanks to James Harden and what he was able to do at point guard.
And he did. There's no arguing that, right?
Right, but there's also no arguing what he did in Game 6, the final 5 minutes, and all of Game 7 against the Celtics.
And that he also just was an absolute jerk to his teammates and treated this organization and this fan base like garbage on the way out the door.
Correct.
And was a quitter.
It once again reared its ugly head on Saturday. Now, Game 6, he played spectacular basketball, forcing the Game 7 against the Nuggets. But then, typical James Harden, man. Game 7, he disappears again. And so how much does track record play into your evaluation of whether or not you're going to praise or criticize somebody?
I just don't understand why people are shocked. He is.
I'm not shocked.
But people expect a different ending with this guy. This is who he is.
The same thing every time. It's unbelievable.
This is who he is. He doesn't want the spotlight. He doesn't want the pressure. He got to the foul line for 2 shots.
Yeah, that can't happen.
Because he does when the game is the biggest, when the pressure is the most, he does not want the ball. He doesn't want to take the shots. He doesn't want the pressure. And that's all you need to know.
It's just unbelievable that
that's all you need to know.
But it keeps happening. Like it's
all
just
you need to know.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
There we go.
The guy played great in Game 6, and then Game 7 he disappears. They lost by 30. Unbelievable. All right, coming up next, we'll reset today's topics. We'll check more of our text messages and hopefully never eat another jelly bean ever again. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Monday here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils failed to sweep. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. After winning the first 2 games of their weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies dropped yesterday's game by a score of 11-9. Ranger Suarez got his first start of the season, and it's one he'd probably like to forget. He went 3 2/3 innings, and he allowed 7 earned runs. After going down 7-1 early, the Phillies battled all the way back. They forced extra innings before ultimately falling in the 10th inning. The team has a day off today before heading down to Florida to take on the Tampa Bay Rays in a 3-game series. Last week, the big news surrounding the Eagles was the team picking up the 5th-year option for Jordan Davis, while Rob Ottey of the Associated Press joined the station last week and said the young defensive tackle still has room to grow.
He's a guy who I still think that he can develop into that guy they expected when they drafted him as high as they did in the first round.
And the Flyers have a big night ahead of them. The NHL draft lottery is tonight at 7. The Flyers had the 4th best odds to obtain the number 1 pick. That's 9.5 chance to do so. 9.5 chance to get the 2nd pick as well. Worst case, they have an 80% chance to end up anywhere between 4th and 6th overall. This update was brought to you by Bet365. Bet365, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
97.5 The Fanatic and live.
Our text line again momentarily at 610-632-0975. What are your rules when it comes to praising or criticizing a player, a coach, or a GM? And the reason why I asked this question is because on Saturday, the Phillies were playing the D-backs. And Trey Turner, who's been on a heater right now, had one of the worst swings I've ever seen from a professional Major League Baseball player that is a position player. And oh, by the way, he's getting paid $300 million. The tweet did not say, get him out of town.
This is a bum. He's awful.
He stinks. Trade him. Bench him. No. I'll read it word for word.
Sure.
And you can tell me if it was unfair. That was one of the least competitive swings I've seen by a major leaguer. 2 on, 1 out, and Trey Turner strikes out like that on a pitch outside. That was horrible. Anything bad with that?
No, it was absolutely 100% factual, no lies detected.
But then there were a lot of people that were very upset that I was pointing out a bad swing from a guy that's been playing good baseball and not attacking like other people, like Bailey right away. You're talking about Turner. Stott swung at 3 straight balls. I was not tweeting about Stott. At the time, I was tweeting about Trey Turner and Trey Turner's horrible swing in that approach.
And that at bat.
2 on, 1 out. You just need to put the ball in play. And it wasn't even a swing. Technically, by rules, a swing because the bat crossed home plate. But it was not a swing. And pointing that out upset people because he's playing good baseball right now.
Oh.
So I'm trying to figure out what people's rules are when it comes to either praising or criticizing a player. I will praise the fact that he's hitting around 300 and that he had a good season last year. And I think if he doesn't have the bad hamstring, maybe he has even a better season last year. But I'll also point out, as great of a season as he had, he was horrible in the playoffs. And he's getting paid $300 million. So he needs to be one of your guys that comes through in the clutch in the playoffs.
Okay.
And he didn't do that last year. That is, all of this stuff should be fair to point out. I'm not saying that the contract is a disaster. I'm not saying that he sucks. I'm not saying if I waved the magic wand, I would love for it to be all over with. I didn't say any of that stuff.
So what are people pissed about?
Because he's playing good baseball right now.
So why? But why?
Oh.
And why does he deserve this kind of defense?
Because people have certain rules or regulations, maybe we should say, about when you can criticize a player.
Okay,
and that's something I don't get.
I don't understand it. Don't get it. Don't understand it. Like I really can.
If a rookie struggles, okay. Like if Justin Crawford eventually gets called up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he goes 0 for 10 to start. Am I gonna be like, oh my God, this guy sucks? No, I'll give him some time.
No.
Does he look like he's playing center field the right way? Does he look like he's doing other things the right way? And he's just trying to adapt to major league pitching?
Are we going to give him a standing ovation if he struggles?
You don't have to do that, but I'm sure some will.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to find out today, what are your rules when it comes to praising or criticizing a player, a coach, or a GM? And again, what goes into it? Does reputation go into it? We just talked about James Harden last segment. There were a lot of people that were not in favor of the Sixers acquiring James Harden when it happened a couple of years ago, and one of the reasons was he comes up small in the playoffs. And you saw that play out here as a Sixer. You obviously saw it play out when he was with the Rockets. And now you saw it play out again this past Saturday against the Nuggets with the Clippers.
And some people act like they're surprised.
I got you.
I don't get it.
I got you.
This is who the guy is. He's always going to be this. It's always who he's been. He's a quitter. He's a selfish bastard. It's who he is. He's going to quit on you if he wants out. He does not own a mirror. He's not going to ever look in the mirror and blame himself. It's always his teammates or something else. He always wants the next thing. He's a quitter. And this is who he is. And now he gags up again in a big moment and doesn't show up in the biggest moment. And it was the easiest thing you could ever have imagined seeing. That was what James Harden was going to be.
It was just another disappointing night for him on a Game 7.
Poor James.
Unreal. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic WPEN. WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BC Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities on this Championship Monday, presented to us by our friends at Pierce Phelps, Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit Phillies.com. Coming up as the 9 o'clock hour continues, we'll talk a little bit more about the Phillies, who are off today, which is why Johnny was a little upset with Rob Thompson this morning, because Max Kepler, your hottest hitter, was given the day off yesterday despite having the off day today.
Yeah, that was smart.
And also, around 9:25, we will remind you of something that John was hoping to see come 1 week from today. But first, let's check the text line on what people are saying about our topics this morning, Gunner.
Yeah, we got Mo in Warrington checking in saying, to me, consistency is key. There's no reason to hate one player while loving another. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what Herb Brooks said. The name on the front is much more important than the name on the back. And I know it's revisionist history, but I wish Cassie was the one who got the long-term deal and not Trey Turner.
Well, I mean, you got him for 5 years. It's almost done, but you did get him to a 5-year contract.
Well, yeah, but you got Turner forever.
Yeah.
Can't get. I mean, it's just not going away.
Yeah, but he hasn't been bad.
And by the way, just to answer the best, the afternoon show. Got to get the afternoon show right. And the afternoon show the other day, because it did cause some controversy in my house, not from me. I was called a hypocrite yesterday, on Friday. I was surprised to be getting called names on the afternoon show the other day. I was called names because of the fact that my daughter got me a Trey Turner jersey that I do sport, and I have sported on the show.
Yes, you have. Opening day you wore it.
Trying to show support for Trey Turner, though I am critical of Trey Turner, I was called a hypocrite, which annoyed one member of my household that will go nameless, who was ready to come down here and kick somebody's ass for calling me a hypocrite.
Nikki Foles, that dog is your best friend.
I would just say I do not call other people on the station names, and I would say that's not good form. But what I would say is that I think if you have a player's jersey, you can still criticize their poor performance. I would say that doesn't make you a hypocrite. That makes you actually a person of integrity, that you can cheer for somebody and actually have a person of integrity and call out when they stink. And they are the worst defensive shortstop in the game. In the game. You can actually point that out. That's called integrity. That's not called that. And by the way, don't call people names. You know, we're all on the same
team. Can I keep calling Sean McDermott a hypocrite?
We're all on the same team here. Let's not be jackasses to each other. Let's just be nice.
Can I keep calling Sean McDermott a hypocrite, though?
Sean McDermott, he's fair game.
Yeah, because he's
fake tough guy from the Northeast.
That guy's a total hypocrite. So I'm going to keep on calling him a hypocrite. It's funny. Like, let's talk about Turner for a second.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been as bad as I think a lot of people think he has been. Now, has he been the Trey Turner that we saw with the Dodgers and the Nationals? No. And I know he signed a big contract, so that's obviously going to be a big part of the conversation.
Yep.
Defensively, you're spot on. Horrible. And even though I pointed out the horrible swing he had on Saturday, the last year, and so far through 32 games this year, he hasn't been horrible.
No.
He hasn't been. I just wanted to point that out because
he has not been.
I think it's much like Castellanos. Year one was so disappointing that there are a lot of people stuck in believing that he has still been a disappointing Philly.
He has not been. Not been.
Right, but there are a lot of people that are stuck on it. Same with Trey Turner.
There are people stuck on their position, stuck on talking points.
Yeah.
And I will say sometimes, and I'm not trying to be mean to people. Like I'll go, "Are you watching the game? Like, are you watching the game? You're allowed to be critical of at bats. You're allowed to be critical of moments, but you have to have there should be a truth meter. Because if you're watching, you can say that some things on this night that stunk or this stunk.
Yeah.
But overall, let's do it. Let's be honest in the assessment.
Absolutely.
All right, let's revisit our old opinions.
What do we got on the text line?
Yeah, another texter in Warrington checking in. This guy by the name of Alex, or she by the name of Alex. This is ridiculous that I have to hear from some people that I cannot criticize a team or a player if they're my team or player. If they don't perform in the city, especially after we invest our time and money into supporting them, we can definitely criticize them. It's totally unrealistic for fans not to criticize players. I understand that they're with feelings as well, but just like politicians, they choose their profession and they're compensated greatly for it. Me as a fan, I can't decide who plays, who sits, but I can voice my opinion.
I love you.
Oh, who is that person?
Alex in Warrington.
Alex.
I love you.
Yeah, that's the kind of person I want. That's the kind of person, if I'm going to a game and I'm sitting in like seats like one and two,
Yeah.
I want Alex in seat 3. That's the kind of fan I want to be with because that is a logical fan.
Yeah.
I like
Because people that get upset, like, look, again, it's all within reason. It's all within fairness, right? If Trey Turner, who's batting 300, 297 right now, right? Let's say tomorrow his first at bat, he gets out. If I start freaking out, boo, you stink. All right, call me out. But if the guy has a bad swing and I go, man, that was a bad swing. Why can't that be said without people getting so upset over it? It's unbelievable. Oh, the media. The media.
You know what? Go fly a plane.
Anyone that watched that swing and thought it was a good swing, I saw one guy. Oh, swings like that happen all the time. Not like that, man. If you think that happens all the time, we must be watching different things, man. All right, coming up next, we'll get more of our text messages, but also, Johnny, speaking of maybe being right more so than some of the decision makers in this city when it comes to our sports teams, what about a non-businessman like myself knowing that some decisions are just stupid? We get into the world of business in sports, which is something that you talk about.
Yes.
Coming up
at
next,
Pico, they love it.
it's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
And the halo effect with Howie Roseman's draft get in the way.
on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. By the way, shout out to all of our runners, including the great Ray Dunn, Broad Street Run yesterday. I saw a new PR for Ray Dunn. He told the world on social media, nice personal record. Now, Ray, can you come in here real quick?
Yeah, please come on in, Ray.
Because obviously, John, much is being made about what could be the future of our subway system here in Philadelphia, which is already a treat. With SEPTA. What happened to you, Ray? Good morning.
Good morning.
So the Broad Street Run is Sunday. Everybody is preparing. There's some people that like just to do it for the bit, but then there's people that are actually trying to run and do their best run possible. So to do your best run possible the night before you eat the nice healthy meal, maybe in the morning you eat something, maybe you drink some coffee early so that you can get rid of some of the sometimes runners have issues. All right, as a runner, I know it.
Yep.
And then you just want to take the nice, easy subway ride to the starting line.
Yeah,
Is
you
that
want to do
correct?
that, right? So it's gone.
Yeah. I mean, I live so close to the Broad Street line. I take it to go pretty much everywhere. Figured no problem. And I got there with plenty of time. I had all banked out. I was going to be able to stretch. I was going to be able to see some people that I knew that were running. I'm on the Broad Street line. We're getting close. We're like 2 or 3 stops away, anticipation building for getting there. And I feel the train start to give, and we like speed up.
Oh, no.
And then I feel what can only be described as the emergency brake. And with all those people, I give a lot of credit to the car I was in, a lot of people with good balance, because I thought for sure we were all going to topple like dominoes. But we stop, they tell us there's a brake issue, and we are in a dark tunnel with packed shoulder to shoulder, just a few stops away from where we need to get. And I felt like it was 45 minutes. I've been told it was only 30-something.
Was it already warm in the car?
Oh, yeah.
With all those people, if you're in the subway, bro, I've been on
In any subway. In any subway when there's a ton of packed cars.
Right. And that, the post-baseball games, football games, Temple games when they were good, Broad Street Run, it's packed.
Why'd you have to throw in Temple when they're good?
When I like to think about my life in tweets, and I was actually going to fire off a tweet before this happened of like, the toughest part of my day on Broad Street Run Day is always the subway ride, because I hate being shoulder to shoulder. I'm a claustrophobic guy. Yeah. I don't like that. And then we're stuck, dark tunnel, shoulder to shoulder, minimal communication, and the windows are just fogging up. There's no AC.
No.
I was sweating. I felt so bad for the people next to me. Like I sweat. Like I could be a sweaty guy. When I get warm, it's not good. And I was sweating buckets. Like, we get out of there, we have over a mile walk, because they only took us to the next station.
Yeah.
And they're like, cars out of commission. Then we walk all the way up to the start. I got there probably like 6:50, and your race starts at 7, which actually this year it was like 7:02. They let the
So you
elite
actually
guys.
started, yeah.
So, well, not me. That's the elite athletes.
Oh, sorry.
I'm way back. I was great
I'm with
corral.
you. I got you, yeah.
But, yeah, so didn't get to stretch, didn't get to say hi to my people. Very disappointed. So I think I went in with a little bit of a loser's mentality at the start of that race. That I was
but I
able
don't
to
blame
correct.
you. You planned everything out correctly, and then, SEPTA has their issue.
You did everything. You did everything that you're planning on right. But how do you then run your best? That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I ran better than last year, and I've been training this year, which helps. Last year I just kind of
did it,
and that helped. And 2 years ago I was in no shape, even though I was starting to train. So I expected I was going to run better this year. I was hoping it would be a couple minutes faster, but
you need a little sugar rush. Have a little jelly beans. Oh, sure. Grab yourself some jelly beans.
Oh yeah.
Get a little rush.
You need your sugar
up.
Sugar.
Get a little sugar.
Go ahead.
There you go.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Enjoy the jelly.
Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, you're allowed to eat on the air. Sure.
Yeah.
Very good. So it's the idea of trying to recover the day after, because your sugar levels are probably off.
How's that jelly bean taste?
Good. I'm not a big coconut guy, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, you got coconut. That's good.
They're all weird. They're all the weird flavors, the gourmet flavors.
Yeah.
Oh, gourmet.
Oh, no. So you want another one?
He's got another one.
What's in these? Am I gonna pass out?
No, we're doing an exercise.
Guess what? That's another one there. That's another good one.
It's a scientific exercise, as tonight is the NHL draft lottery. So go ahead.
Have another one.
Coconut's a solid item. It's not my favorite, but I get it.
Is it terrible? You can spit it out if you want to spit it
No,
out.
it's all right.
No, spit it out. Here you go. Here, take it.
What got me in trouble?
Take it out.
I'm good. No, I'm good.
What are we thinking?
I don't know what this is, but I don't like it.
Spit it out if you have to.
No.
Okay.
Be a real man.
I'm not.
Off to
I can't say what I want to say.
Talk to it.
Yeah, what flavor do you think you got?
Terrible.
No, it's so bad though. It tastes terrible.
So John got the jelly beans.
I got the Bean Boozled and the
and the Harry Potter beans.
Look at his face. On that.
I want to.
So John put in a bunch of jelly beans, and you have
I put legit ones in there, the good ones.
You have a 20% chance of getting a good one
20% chance of getting a good one. The first one you got was good.
because the Flyers have a 20%
Wait, he's
chance.
eating another one. He's a man.
Well, I think this is another coconut. But
You
now
might have got
I'm
another one.
scared.
So I had burnt rubber, and then what was the sock? Dirty
You got
sock.
dirty socks. He got.
I'm sorry. I feel bad for your pain, but I don't know what I'm experiencing over here.
Yeah.
This is so
Do you
bad.
remember what color you had? What color was
It was
it?
orange. I was like, oh, nice.
No,
Maybe I'll get.
he got one. Oh, orange. Let me see there. Thing you got.
It's unbelievable how they can actually
You
cut
got wet laundry.
Oh,
Gunner
yeah.
almost puked earlier.
He almost
Dude, I
puked
got
with
used
his.
Band-Aid.
All right, wait,
He got used
He got
Band-Aid.
used Band-Aid.
What's for the Bean Boozle? What's the white one? Because now I'll just eat it. Because now I at least have an
Oh
expectation.
no, the white one you didn't get a bad one.
Oh,
You got a bad one. You got a good one.
nice. Well, honestly,
so the
coconut's kinda
Flyers
bad
got
for
a
me.
the Flyers got a top three
No,
pick.
you could have gotten soap. You could get soap.
Yeah, but you know
I mean, I
what's-
need to clean out my.
There you
soap's
go.
better than whatever the hell you were eating. What do you think?
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you get-
coconut again.
It's coconut again.
Okay,
So we
good
got
for him.
coconut. There you
Good for
go.
him.
I could do this.
By
There
the
we
way, the business in sports where I was right, and for some reason millionaires don't realize that they're dumb. Do you know that the UFL is happening?
No, it's not, is it? I thought I folded.
No, and then they brought it back again. So I was on Fox. I always like to go to the different websites to get some stuff for the show. And right on the front page of Fox, because Fox is a big part of this.
Okay.
Yesterday's UFL scores. And I looked up just how their ratings are doing. They're as bad as some of those beans.
They're terrible.
Probably
And,
worse.
and here's the thing. I knew this wasn't going to work. Nobody wants another football league in May.
Yeah, nobody's looking for it.
Nobody's looking for this. This is not a developmental
Nobody's saying,
league.
gosh, I really need more
Nobody
football.
wants a football league in general besides the NFL
Right.
and college. Like,
And,
yeah,
like-
never.
And none of these players, respectfully, are any good. There's a reason why they're in the UFL, not the NFL. And I remember when they first maybe this could be a developmental league where they find players. No. They stink for a reason.
They're bad.
They're losing money on this. God. Sometimes. Anyways, coming up next, Johnny had a very important date set on the calendar 1 week from today. The Phillies may fail their first test. It's Kincade and Salciunas. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Ranger struggles in his season debut. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. After winning the first two games of their weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies dropped yesterday's game by a score of 11-9. Ranger Suarez got his first start of the season, and it's probably one he would like to forget. He went 3 2/3 innings. He allowed 7 earned runs in those 3 2/3 innings. After going down 7-1 early, the Phils did battle back, though. They forced extra innings before ultimately falling in the 10th. The team has an off day today, then they're headed down to Florida to take on the Tampa Bay Rays for a 3-game series. Last week, the big news surrounding the Eagles was the team picking up the fifth-year option for Jordan Davis, while Rob Maaddi of the Associated Press joined these airwaves last week and said the young defensive tackle still has room to grow.
He's a guy who I still think that he can develop into that guy they expected when they drafted him as high as they did in the first round.
And the Flyers have a big night ahead of them as the NHL Draft Lottery is tonight at 7. They have the fourth best odds to obtain the number 1 pick. That's a 9.5% chance to do so. And at worst case, there's an 80% chance they end up somewhere between 4th and 6th overall in the draft. This update was brought to you by the PGA Tour's Truist Championship. The Truist Championship is coming to the Philadelphia Cricket Club's Wickahisson course May 7th through May 11th. Tickets on sale now at TruistChampionship.com. That's TruistChampionship.com. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Sports.
Touchdown! Saquon
DecoPayBryant.com. All right, couple of things before we get to the important date for John Kincade 1 week from today. A little bit of breaking news in the world of college football. Expected to happen, but it's now official. Sherrone Moore, the head coach of Michigan, officially suspended for 2 games in the 2025 season. This goes back to the Connor Stallions scouting scandal.
So they literally were masquerading fake coach.
Yes.
Like dressing somebody up on the sideline to be able to masquerade in and spy on people. What a disgrace.
So Sherrone Moore will be, but wasn't that still when Harbaugh was there? So that's the weird thing.
Well, because he was the guy who orchestrated it. So he was the guy who orchestrated it all. And Harbaugh's like, nothing to see here. I had nothing to do with it.
I'm in L.A. now, baby.
I'm in L.A. Jim Harbaugh ran for the frickin' door because Michigan had to cheat to win a national title.
So there's the latest with that.
What a disgrace. You have to literally cheat on opponents, spy on opponents by getting people a press credential so they can be on the sideline to be able to spy on opponents. And then Jim Harbaugh runs back to the NFL so he doesn't have to pay the price.
Yeah.
But he got his national championship.
It's like Pete Carroll, dude, back in the day.
Pete Carroll, who totally scammed out. And when the NCAA was knocking down the front door, Pete Carroll was running out the back door.
Yep.
It's disgraceful.
Also, I have a quick message for college students, Johnny.
Well, you're always a good advocate for the young college students. My kids, you called in the middle of class this year one day.
Did. I forgot you were at class.
Andrew forgot class was going on, and he called during class, and the kids loved it. And so I just put him on speakerphone. He just talked to the class.
Yeah, why not?
It was great.
I loved it.
You loved it.
So your daughter graduates at the end of the week. So
Thursday we graduate.
Does she still have finals, or is she all done?
She's all done.
There is finals this week.
For
right?
some reason, she has her capstone. For some reason, she has her capstone tomorrow.
Yeah, well,
she's already. It makes no sense.
So, real quick story, and again, just a quick PSA to the college students out there who are of age to participate in the Cinco de Mayo festivities. It's okay to wait, and I understand FOMO is a real deal, fear of missing out. Those who don't know that term, but it's okay to wait. So, my junior year, I guess, my buddy was done classes for the day. Come on, man. Come to Maxie's with me for Cinco de Mayo.
Maxie's is always fun.
And I'm like, bro, I got a final at 6 o'clock or 5:30 because there's a night class. He goes, nah, come on, man. Just come and hang out. And then one drink leads to 2, leads to 3, leads to whatever, how many. I arrived to my psychology final reeking of margaritas. When I sat,
were you spilling them on yourself or something?
No, I just drank that many.
Wow.
And when I sat down in my seat, the girl next to me goes, somebody's been enjoying Cinco de Mayo. I'm like, is it that noticeable? She said, yep. Now, the beauty is I still got a B+ on that final.
That's impressive.
But I would not suggest anyone to
put you in the right headspace, they'd say.
Yeah, for psychology, you're right. I would not suggest any college student to participate in the Cinco de Mayo festivities until after you're done all of your finals.
And make sure you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you get in there before the rain.
Yeah.
Which is coming at noon, so start early.
I start at noon?
I literally went to hang out, and then, everyone's there. Hey, come on, bro. Just one shot of tequila.
Peer pressure.
One shot of tequila. Come on. And instead of saying, here, let me do my final, I'll come back and join you, I participated. So just don't do that.
Don't do that.
All you college kids.
If you want an A, but if you're cool with the B+.
Yeah, look, trust me, I was cool with the B+. All right, 1 week from today is Monday, May 12th.
It's after Mother's Day.
Which is something you talked about before the season started.
Yeah, Dork Boy puts it on the calendar. Like I have April 9th on the calendar. That's the day that we put down Andrew is Mr. Softy. You remember that day that we noted down that Gunnar put it on there, and I put it on there, and Connor put it on there, that the day you refused to do that it is Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, I said just NFC Championship.
You're on an
bust.
island.
So
you're fine if the Eagles make it to the Final Four. Andrew's going to go, great season, boys.
Yep. You would think I said I just want them to win 4 games in the
Yeah,
regular
you're fine.
season.
If they make it to the Final Four, you're like, great season, boys.
Yeah, that's a great season.
So we all say Mr. Softy.
That's a great season.
And Ben Simmons says you can have the title. But I said before the season that the Phillies would be they got to be in first place by next Monday. And meaning I really believed this was a really advantageous part of the schedule. I still feel that way. And I might end up being wrong on it about winning the division. But, yeah, I still feel that way about this advantageous part of the schedule.
Now, a couple of reasons, not just Phillies record-wise, but the Braves started off.
The Braves started out 0-7,
and we didn't predict
1-9.
that.
No,
but because of the Strider injury and Acuna injury,
exactly.
We were saying get ahead of them now.
And right now, you're still 3.5 ahead of the Braves.
You are probably
But
not enough.
Not enough. And the Braves, by the way, are done with the Dodgers now. You're not. And the Braves have already taken care of 4 of their Padre games. You're not. You have 7 of your Padre games left. So, like, the schedule was very advantageous for you to take advantage. And the Braves, the Phillies are not taking care of that. And I look at the Braves as the biggest threat.
Yeah, I still look.
Maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm dumb.
Call me an idiot. People do it all the time. I know the Mets swept the Phillies. In terms of overall baseball team, I am still not scared of the Mets.
Still think the Braves are the biggest threat. Still think the Mets are right there with the Phillies, like right in the neighborhood, but I think the Phillies are a better team. That may end up proving out untrue.
They have had a ridiculous start, the Mets, with their starting pitching.
Correct.
Like, it's been really, really good. I don't believe it holds up, but it has been really, really good to start the season. I mean, their worst starting pitcher right now is David Peterson, whose ERA is 3.06. That's their worst starting pitcher, which is incredible.
Which is never going to hold up.
No, it's not good. Like Kodai Senga is not going to pitch to a tune of 1.38.
But better than I expected. Yeah, that can hold up. But better than. I just want the Phillies to get on their horses a bit. Now, if next Monday, if it comes in and it's like they're a game out, game and a half out, it very well may prove out that it wasn't a big deal or not. But I'd like to just see it. It's 2.5 going into this final week. Let's see if they can tighten it up a little bit.
Now, what I find interesting is our man Bill Colarulo, who'll be on with the Mike Missanelli show coming up at 10 o'clock.
Mike would not participate in Bean Boozled, by the way. Maybe the sage veteran was smart. Bill reached right in and got one and chewed that baby up and found one that was good.
That's good. So that means another good positive for the Flyers.
By the way, Danny Briere and Keith Jones have both been informed.
Okay, that's good.
I've already had the texting with Keith. And Danny Briere, by the way, representing the Flyers tonight at the draft lottery.
Okay. So Bill put out a tweet. There are more positives than negatives with the Phillies to date. Now, I heard him just last week
disagree.
Well, I heard him just last week saying we shouldn't be saying it's only April anymore.
I disagree.
And now he's saying there's more positives than negatives, Bill.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's just do this little... Okay.
He did write them all out.
Okay, let's review his
record is plus 500. So
no, that's not good because they're distinctly worse than last year.
7-3-1 series record. Winning series.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean when you're not. It's the record. They're 4 games over 500.
Top 8 in batting average, top 4 in on-base percentage, top 4 average with runners on.
That's stats. Stats don't matter. 4 games over 500 is the only stat that matters.
Top 8 average with runners in scoring position.
Only stat that matters is 4 games over 500.
Top 8 in least amount of strikeouts.
Doesn't matter. 4 games over 500 is the only stat that matters.
Top 7 in starter ERA.
4 games over 500 is the only stat that matters.
Most strikeouts from starting pitching.
How are you winning? You're 4 games over 500. All those stats don't matter.
There's more positives than negatives.
They don't go. Well, look. Here's how we're going to determine the playoffs. We're going by stats.
Well, if you are winning, then you are 4 games over 500.
Guess
so
what?
He's not lying.
And right now, you'd be on the outside looking into the playoffs. You wouldn't be a playoff team.
But if it's all that matters is W's and L's,
you would not be looking.
There are more positives than negatives in that case.
Right now, you would not be in the playoffs. The Mets would be in. The Cubs would be in. The Dodgers would be in. The Padres would be in. The Giants would be in, and the Phillies the Phillies and the Diamondbacks would be in. Right? Phillies would be the last wild card right now. Phillies and the Diamondbacks would be tied.
Worked out well once.
By the way, Bill can't be calling Weston Wilson dub. That's
Sure
got to
he can.
go. No, Dub's got to go.
No, I mean, if it look,
You can't go Dub.
yeah, but if it annoys Mike, it makes for good
That's
radio.
a good point.
It makes for good radio.
All right, coming up next, we'll check our text line. We have the Key 3 coming up as well. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Monday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Connor Thomas.
It's crazy. They had so many picks to use, but instead of saying.
Fanatic. Did we get any people texting in about whether or not they're going to Clearwater for this week? If not, that's fine. I'm just curious because the Phillies are taking on the Rays this week. They're off today. They begin a 3-game series tomorrow. and they're playing in the Yankee Stadium. So it's going to be the Yankees minor league stadium that they use during spring training, which is in Clearwater. So it's going to be prepared. It's going to look strange the next couple of days. I'm curious. You would probably find this information in like 2 minutes, and you'll probably be able to talk about it tomorrow.
What's that?
Has there been like certain betting trends with this stadium? Because it's a minor league ballpark. Yeah.
Overs. There have been games where due to weather, there are a couple games where the weather conditions where they took the over/under off the board.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, because of with the winds with like thunderstorm warnings and stuff, where they've been like, because it's a bandbox.
Yeah, and that ball's flying.
By the way, I cheated a little bit.
Oh.
Because it's one of the reasons why when we were talking about Alec Bohm hitting a home run, I think Alec Bohm hits a home run this series.
Well, I hope so. It'd be nice to see a 1 in that column for him.
Because Alec Bohm, I think, could hit a home run.
Still 0 home runs, which is insane to me this far into the season for a 6'5" corner infielder. Unbelievable.
Right.
It's unbelievable. I know he's not a home run hitter. I remind people all the time. That's why I've been wanting Arenado, but whatever. It's just unbelievable. The guy has no power whatsoever.
None.
It's crazy, man. All right, what do we got on the text line this morning, Gunner?
Yeah, we got somebody checking in, and he says, I criticize Nola all the time, fair or not. Even when he has a great game or pitches through a neck injury, you can say whatever you want in this country, luckily, and I'll always not give Nola the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, Nola's one of those polarizing figures, though, where it's like, sometimes I don't know whether I should praise him or not. I get what the guy's saying, right?
I donate to you.
Like, Nola, that one game where he gives up the 2 home runs to start the game, you put out something critical, and then he ends up pitching really well. And people are like, oh, man, you were hating on him early. Well, yeah, because the guy gives him home runs all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't like that. I'm not. Why should I like that?
No, don't be giving. You like that? Kirk Cousins, you like that? Like Nola's a polarizing figure because you just want. It's weird. It's that you can't, again, since the start of last season, so we're now a month plus, and all of last season, he's the worst gopher ball pitcher in the game. That's okay to point out. That's completely unacceptable for what he's paid.
Right.
It's completely unacceptable for what he's expected to be on this staff, which is the number 2 guy on the staff.
But is it unacceptable?
Yes,
because
it's unacceptable.
we've known this is who Aaron Nola is, and they paid him
to be the worst.
So how's it not acceptable?
To be the worst in the game.
But here's the deal. Hold on. If Aaron Nola gives up 2 earned runs on a given outing, and it's just 2 solo shots instead of
it's
RBI, a 2-run double, does it bother you?
Yes.
Why?
Because giving up home runs
is it more visually that it bothers you?
No, you shouldn't be. You got to keep the ball in the yard, and any pitcher will tell you that.
Yeah, but if it's 2 runs, it's 2 runs, right?
No,
like,
it's not.
It's the psyche of it.
No, you got to keep the ball in the yard. You got to keep it because eventually that's going to keep getting worse and worse, which it has for his career. It's a trend that keeps getting worse. It's that Venn diagram. It's getting worse and worse with his career. And by the way, that contract is still just starting.
Yeah.
And it's going to get worse and worse.
Well, yeah, the day that he gives up the 2 home runs, I put out the tweet, this should be fun. And it was the screen grab of the spot track, and then he ends up settling in. Noah's better than you think. I never said he sucked, but yeah, it's going to be fun 5 years from now when he's throwing 84 miles per hour.
And my point is, though, the Phillies knew who he was, and they told you it was acceptable because they paid him to go out there and be exactly who he is, and he's going to continue to be that guy.
Look, I'm going to tell you, to me, the positives so far outweigh the negatives.
Absolutely.
For his career as a Philadelphia Philly. I mean, just completely outweigh them. He has been the amount of innings he pitches, the amount of his durability has been incredible. Because he's pitched through crap.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To me, I have such respect for 22, 23, 24, what he did to get them into. Like, he came out with big starts down the stretch and in the postseason to come through to help this team. So to me, I'm really Like, to me, I'll never forget that. And it has to balance out any conversation you have with them.
Yep. What else we got on the text line before we get to our key three?
We got Tom and Only checking in saying the reason some fans don't like a guy like a Castellanos is because he's, well, a smartass like us. He'll sneak in a snarky reply to the media, and we as fans think we're the only one that can be smartasses, and sometimes that smart is silent.
What's funny? This is where I laugh. So people do get bothered by Castellanos and what he says to the members of the media and stuff sometimes. Meanwhile, a lot of you hate the media. So, like, why does it bother you so much? Like,
that's a fair point.
And that's the thing. Like, people, you see it on social media all the time. Right. We get ripped on all the time. That's fine. It comes with the job. Whatever. Like, I don't lose sleep over it. Trust me. I just cry myself to sleep. So Castellanos, if he like gets into a back and forth with a media member, people get bothered by it because it's him. But meanwhile, he's doing something that I think a lot of people usually like because there's a lot of anti-media people in this city.
It goes both ways. Like Fletcher Cox calling out our guy Jeff McClain when he was retiring. People love Fletcher for that because they already love Fletcher.
And there's people that aren't the biggest McClain fans out there because they think he hates the team or whatever nonsense
like
they
there's
spew.
weird things like the other night, and it's weird because I didn't fire on it. Did you see Bryce Harper when Kepler hit the home run?
No, I missed it.
Go back Friday night when Kepler hit the back-to-back home runs and Kepler gave them the lead. They panned the Phillies dugout. It's pandemonium.
Going nuts, yeah.
Not Bryce Harper. He looked less animated than Rob Thompson.
Well, at the same time, you have to be fair, like we said earlier in the show.
And I'm like, where are you?
But you look at Jalen Hurts, it's the same thing.
No,
it's the same thing.
This was worse. His teammates are all, and it's just.
Do you think he's trying to overdo the "we're not that young daycare squad anymore" mentality?
I think he's just in his own head. He's worried about his own business. He's just disconnected from it. And to me, it looked really out of place.
Okay,
like that was a moment to be fired up with his teammates and everything like that. It just looked odd.
Hopefully he bounced back.
I think he's going to
he had a nice day yesterday. Two for 5, the home run.
Terrible. He had an early 2 at-bats where we're looking like he's coming out of it, then 3 terrible at-bats.
At least we got the 2 good at-bats.
Yeah, that was good because we haven't seen much of it.
All right, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3, today's best.
Instead of going for the jugular, he goes for the give this guy a day off and this guy a day off. Max Kepler, got to give him a day off. He's the hottest outfielder in baseball of the week. He was on MLB Network. They tell you who the hottest players in baseball are every single day on a banner, on the ribbon on the TV.
Yeah.
Max Kepler was listed as the hottest player in baseball yesterday on their banner. Oh, no. Rob Thompson doesn't have MLB Network in the club, huh? No, he's got to have the day off. But then someone says, well, wait a minute. Maybe you don't like the righty-lefty.
Yeah, it's Eduardo Rodriguez, left-handed pitcher.
But then you look and you say, wait a minute. Look at Kepler's numbers against Rodriguez. He hits him like this. He hits him like he's a redheaded stepchild. Are you kidding me? He has great numbers against him. A simple Google search. We have all the analytics in the world to tell us about launch angles and blip and all the stuff that they put up on the outfield scoreboard. But you can't do a simple Google search and go, wait a minute. Kepler is actually the hottest player of the week. MLB Network says, telling people who to play in fantasy. He's the hottest outfielder in baseball right now. And he also has the best, he has great numbers against this pitcher. When the ball is hit to left field, it looks like he's slipping, he's sliding. And you're going to put him out there on the worst field that you have played on all year long. And you've got all morning to look at the weather forecast to know the game wasn't even necessarily going to start on time. And you say, I'm going to put Schwarber out there. By the way, this is a man who in similar weather conditions broke his leg playing left field once.
Lightning can't strike twice in the same spot, I guess.
No, lightning can't strike twice because he honestly, you could time him with a sundial. He made a great play on a ball off the wall, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
He made a great play. But then he made 3 other plays during the day where you're like, you can't have him in the outfield.
Dave Dombrowski, to your point, has something to stand on, right? I hated the Sir Anthony Dominguez trade last year. I hate that they did not bring back either one of Hoffman or Estevez. And now, on May the 5th, I'm sitting here going, Yeah, we were right about all three.
And
that guy was not.
And that's bad. It's bad that we were right about all three.
Now, do I think he can still make this Phillies team great?
I think Dayton Brown.
I think so.
He has not lived up to his contract. That is not over the top. He has not lived up to what they expected to be getting from him. Overall, he has not been terrible. He is horrendous in the field. He is a horrendous shortstop. He is the worst. Again, we wake up today, since he has been a Philly, the 2 years since the beginning of 2023, he is the worst shortstop in the National League.
And again, just so people hear
That is not
correctly, you're talking about defensively
statistics.
Defensively,
he is the worst shortstop in the National League since the beginning of the 2023 season. That's all I'm saying. So you're talking about he's a problem. That's all I'm saying.
All right, that is the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show. All right, this is a Championship Monday, brought to us by our friends at Pierce Sells Bryan Heating and Air Conditioning
Love those
Contractors.
folks.
Visit nopaybryan.com. Before we get out of here, Johnny, we got to give away a pair of tickets. Really cool event. You said that Liv's gone there twice now, which is really cool. 2 general admission tickets to Maurice Piers for the Eagles Autism event, which is always such an amazing thing. We gave the Phillies a lot of credit earlier today with what they did with the great fan Prince, who obviously took the world by storm last week when he was mimicking Jose Alvarado. I thought it was so cool of them to bring him back to the stadium on Friday. I love what the Eagles do with their Autism Foundation. So right now, first caller to 610-632-0975 will win a pair of tickets, general admission tickets for the Eagles Autism event. It's July 13th at Maurice Piers. So try to make a whole beach day out of it. Maurice Piers Amusement Rides and Raging Waters Water Park. For more information on the event, head to www.mauricepiers.com/event. So if you don't win the tickets, you can still find a way to get in that way.
It's a great time, too, and you can just, if you have young kids or college kids or whatever, they'll love the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those roller coasters, you can do them over and over.
Hell yeah, man.
I don't want to do that.
I don't mind it.
Over and over?
Yeah, I did Mount Everest in, what's that? The
Disney?
Disney, yeah, but what's it called? The
Everest.
Animal Kingdom.
Oh, and
Yeah.
All I know is
Expedition Everest.
It rained, so everybody left. So I went on.
Keep going on over
I
and
went
over.
on it like 5 or 6 straight times, and that's the one that goes forward and backwards. After like the 5th time, the stomach started turning.
Started feeling like you ate burnt rubber.
Yeah.
As long as I'm in one of the ones that cages you in,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
You ever do the Superman one?
I can do, the Superman one where your legs are
laying?
dangling.
Yeah, man.
I'm fine. The old wooden ones, where your backside sort of catches
you get
air.
scared by the old wooden ones?
That's much.
Well, you think you're gonna get thrown out?
I'm hearing the clack, clack, clack,
They
clack,
go
clack,
2
clack.
miles an hour.
No, they don't. No, and you feel sort of the railing, like, oh yeah, that's worse for me.
Tell us about Wilt.
Yeah, I'm going to talk much more. Hey, our partners H&H Heating and Air Conditioning made a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives.
What's a wooden roller coaster, Grandpa?
No thanks. No thanks. They've got one at Maurice Pier.
Damn right they
I
do.
want to take good care of you.
Everyone have a great rest of your day. Mike Missanelli show comes your way next. Also, don't forget your next chance to win $1,000 comes right at 10 o'clock.